9 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Tim Hughes. Let's look at some of our top stories this hour. Students at Olympus Junior High School are on a 2-hour delay this morning because of a bomb threat. Law enforcement officials tell us they do not think the threat is credible, but the delay is out of an abundance of caution. We're keeping an eye on that story. Some Utah lawmakers want Rocky Mountain Power to split from its parent company, Pacific Corp. Lawmakers asked Rocky Mountain to look into the feasibility of splitting after they made a request to make big rate hikes through 2026. Rocky Mountain President Dick Garlish defended the request in a hearing on the Hill yesterday, saying it's to make up for what they've spent to upgrade the power grid.
This isn't profit. This is money that's been prudently expended to provide the services that we were providing today.
Garlish said it would take at least 1.5 years to figure out what it would take to split off from Pacific Corp. On to our top national stories this hour from ABC News. The International Criminal Court has issued arrest warrants for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, his former defense minister, and Hamas officials, accusing them of war crimes and crimes against humanity. Netanyahu condemned the court's action, saying there was nothing more just than Israel's war in Gaza. 2 of the 3 Hamas leaders originally sought by the prosecutor have been killed. Your money at this moment, markets are mixed. The Dow is not doing too bad. It's up 0.75% with a gain of 334. S&P is now joined in the green. It's up 12, and the Nasdaq still retreating by about 74 points. Coming up, it is the warm before storm. Things are going to take a turn for us. It looks like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday of next week. KSL News Time, 9:02. News doesn't just mean information or dates.
It's the story of our local history being told in real time.
Be a part of the story. This is Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon.
We hope to be a part of your story. We have you covered on KSL News Radio.
We just want to have enough money for retirement.
And travel to visit our grandchildren.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we start by getting to know each other, so I can learn about your family, lifestyle, goals and needs, allowing us to tailor your portfolio.
What about commission-based products?
We don't sell those. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in your best interest.
So how do your management fees work?
We have a simple management fee based on the value of your portfolio, so we do better when you do better.
We appreciate that kind of transparency.
We also check in with you regularly to keep you up to date on the markets and your portfolio.
Well, what other services do you offer?
As a client, you have access to resources on investing, financial planning, estate planning, Social Security, Medicare, and more.
Wow, sounds like Fisher Investments has everything we need.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at fisherinvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
You want fast? Soda Weight Loss delivers fast results. I just got a reminder on my phone from a year ago. I had started the program in September. By this time, I had already let go of 30 pounds of fat weight on my way to letting go of 70. My friend John Smith, how did it go for you?
You know what's funny is you'd think that would be like a very rare occurrence for you to lose that much in that amount of time. But I started on August 28th. I am down 32 pounds.
Because Soda tailors it to each customer. That's what's so great about it. It stands for state of the art. And here's the kicker. No drugs, shots, pills, or crazy side effects. It's fast, easy, and convenient. You won't be hungry. You don't count calories. And it's designed for a busy lifestyle. Here's the thing. Go check it out for yourself. SOTAweightloss.com. That's SOTAweightloss.com. Request a nutritionist callback and ask them about Soda's biggest savings of the year on the holiday special. Remember, John, Soda, say it with me. State of the art.
That was fun.
You might not consider yourself a tech expert, but you can still protect yourself from online scammers with McAfee Total Protection. From fake delivery text to bank alerts, scams are everywhere. That's where McAfee Total Protection steps in. McAfee will help keep your devices and identity safer and your private info private. Visit McAfee.com/online protection and get up to 79% off award-winning online protection. This Black Friday Cyber Monday deal won't last. Offer ends 12/4/24. That's McAfee.com/online protection. Cancel anytime. Terms apply.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's Dyno Pay app. Save up to 20 cents a gallon. Heather Kelly, how are we looking?
Well, traffic's at a crawl right now, southbound I-15 as you leave 123rd South in Draper and head all the way to the point of the mountain on almost over to Utah County. This is due to a crash that's blocking the right lane and shoulder, so everybody is moving over to the left and slowing down, especially getting up that hill. Otherwise, traffic is moving along much nicer now, especially northbound I-15 out of Utah County, and no problems in Weber and Davis counties. It's the grand opening of the luxury series, Willow Estates, this Saturday. Find Willow Estates at fieldstonehomes.com and see them in person this Saturday just off Highway 6 in Spanish Fork from 11 to 3 p.m. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Officially, they say today would be partly cloudy with some breezy winds, but man, those clouds have rolled back into downtown Salt Lake and blocked the sunshine for now. Looking for a high today of 58, warming to 61 tomorrow, and right now in Salt Lake City, it is 46 degrees. From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, I'm Tim Hughes. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
With the cost of college tuition going up and up and up, we're going to take an in-depth look this morning at the return on investment for some college degrees. And I would say some graduates would consider their return on investment to be wholeheartedly disappointing.
Debbie, I'm so excited about this story. I'm jumping out of my skin. I'm so excited about this story. I think this is one of the most important conversations when it comes to college and higher education that we can have. It's 9:06. It's time for the launch.
Sequence engaged.
And here are 3 things that Debbie wants you to know.
Countdown. 3.
We're going to spend a significant amount of time on this morning. Low-paying degrees. The Utah legislature finds college degrees that cost a pretty penny to earn, netting annual incomes for some graduates at poverty level. So we'll ask the Legislative Auditor General, who is in charge of this audit, what degrees? He's joining the show at 9:50. We'll talk about what else he found when he looked into these issues at Utah's universities and colleges. And then at 11:05, at the top of our 11 o'clock hour, House Speaker Mike Schultz rejoining the show with plans that lawmakers have to do something about it, Dave.
This is something we don't do a great job with our kids that are going to college. Think, if you go to a fast food place and you order a cheeseburger, what's right next to the cheeseburger? 1,100 calories. It tells you, you eat this cheeseburger, this is how many calories you're going to consume. We should have something similar to degrees. If you go into this degree, if you graduate here, this is the average degree value. This is what your return on investment is. If you're going to be an engineer versus a British studies major, we should tell our kids up front, you go into this degree, this is what you can expect to earn.
Countdown. 2.
Off the top of our 10 o'clock hour, daily bus pickup delays certainly stacking up at the high school next door to Broadcast House, West High. This story I spotted in the Deseret News, and I was, what is going on? Groups of students waiting for school bus pickup after classes let out at West High in the afternoon. There was an actual audit as well, another audit. It found that 165 students face 30-minute bus pickup delays every single day. You're like, oh, that's not a big deal. That adds up to 69 hours of wait time for these students, waiting for the bus. Put it into work time, Dave, for adults, that'd be 2 weeks of lost work. You just sitting here waiting for your ride. We'll look into the delay at 10:05.
And that's just to get on the bus. That's not the time spent on the bus or how long it takes to get you dropped off. You're just sitting there for 2 weeks, just waiting for the bus to arrive. Having been a bus driver, I'll tell you, it's not as easy a fix as you think it is. I look at 30 minutes, I'm like, well, you know what? Sometimes that's just the way it is, folks. The route is hard to finish on time.
Launch countdown. 1.
Our top story, the looky-loo proposal on Utah's Capitol Hill. It's grown some legs. Lawmakers get moving on a a proposal that could become law that would call for the possibility of jail time if county clerks, government officials put eyes on your election ballot to find out the method you used to cast it. Mail, ballot box, mailing it in with or without a stamp.
So what this bill essentially says is you cannot do a looky-loo at someone's information for fun. If you don't have a specific election-related purpose, then you can't just look up specific individuals.
If I'm being totally honest here, Deb, I don't get this. I don't get the heartburn that this is causing. I understand it. Voters' emails, phone numbers, full birth dates, those should absolutely be protected. But whether or not I dropped my ballot off in a ballot box, or I mailed it in my mailbox, or I voted in person, what do I care? Why does this matter? Who cares if you know that?
Dave and Dujanovic.
The launch.
Commence.
Dave and Dujanovic. Special coverage of the top local story.
I just want to take a moment here and talk about the very recent history of how this all began. It began in Utah County when State Senator Mike McKell learns from our colleague, Lisa Riley Roche, a reporter at the Deseret News, that she had found out from the county clerk during some reporting that she was doing that McKell's county clerk had publicized to her, had told her that the senator cast his ballot by mail and didn't use a stamp to do so. Which, by the way, I want to insert something here. That's legal to do that. That's a legal method of doing. You're not required to put a stamp on your mail-in ballot. Well, then Clerk Davidson called our show as well to confirm this and talk about it.
And the reason I tracked Mike McKell's is because Utah County decided that we weren't going to pay for return postage because there's 18 other counties that don't pay return postage. And Mike McKell actually passed the bill that said the counties do not have to pay return postage. And he made a big stink of it politically, making Facebook posts and Twitter posts saying, Utah County Clerk is horrible. He's not going to pay return postage. And he encouraged others not to put postage stamps on it because federal law says that if they don't, they still have to return it to us. So he was just kind of making a big stink of it. And so I decided to kind of look.
Have you ever been in this situation where you're in an argument and you're losing or you're winning, but you're in the argument and then you're like, what are we fighting about? That's how I feel about this. I know Senator McKell and Clerk Davidson, they're going at it. They're back and forth. The legislature's now stepping in. I don't understand the problem. Is there a potential problem, or is it genuinely you don't want anyone to know whether or not you dropped your ballot off in a ballot box or you mailed it in?
Representative Stephanie Grecius, she introduced the bill. It would prevent the public from looking up what method someone used to cast their ballot. Specifically, this would certainly fall on county clerks and prevent them from looking it up.
So what this bill essentially says is you cannot do a looky-loo at someone's information for fun. If you don't have a specific election-related purpose, then you can't just look up specific individuals.
And then State Senator Daniel Thatcher weighed in on the why he thinks lawmakers should be acting on this. And let's listen to what he had to say about this, Dave, and then you should react to his statement.
I believe that we have a constitutional right to a secret ballot, and that anything that infringes on that, whether it's a fuzzy interpretation of specific languages, I think that there should be no question whatsoever that the right to a secret ballot is sacrosanct and constitutional.
And I want to be absolutely clear. Clerk Davidson is not being accused of actually looking at Mike McKell's ballot, how he voted. This is looking at how you dropped your ballot off. Method. And I want to make sure we are very, very clear on this, folks, that the accusations, the complaints here are not that Clerk Davidson is actually weeding through and looking at your ballot and how you voted and then declaring it to the world. This is specifically about how you dropped off your ballot, whether you voted in person or that you sent it through the mail. And I think we're conflating the two a little bit or not being clear enough of what is being accused of right now.
Straight ahead, as part of this law, jail time is on the docket if this proposal becomes law and someone violates the law. So let's get the reaction from Utah County Clerk Aaron Davidson. He's calling the show next.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Dave and Debbie go out of their way to make sure you hear all sides of a story.
They're working the phones to get several viewpoints on for you.
Hi, it's Tim and Amanda. We get you the full story, too.
We have you covered on KSL News Radio.
I love Salt Lake City fat loss because it was very easy to follow. I'm not saying it was easy to lose weight on the program because it's not easy to get on a program and lose weight, right? You have to say no to some Oreos, maybe some French fries every once in a while. It was easier than I thought it would be with Salt Lake City fat loss. They told me they had the secret to losing up to a pound of fat per day. Many people will lose 20 to 30 pounds in a month or two. I lost 57 pounds in 60 days with Salt Lake City fat loss, and I did it without injections. I did it without surgery. They walked me through every single day. I would receive some sort of a text or a video. They would touch base and explain to me, okay, this is why you're doing what you're doing. Stay on track. And then I saw big results, and the big results kept me motivated and kept me on the program. So if you're interested, go ahead and reach out to Salt Lake City Fat Loss. Their website's super easy to navigate, slcfatloss.com. That's slcfatloss.com.
BYU season comes down to sudden death. Now it's a one-game season. Beat Arizona State for a path to the championship game.
Moa running hard, 15 and 12-yard line for Sione Moa.
This Saturday, it's do or die. BYU, Arizona State. KSL Special Extended Pregame starts Saturday at 11, and kickoff is at 1:30 on Utah's legacy home of the Cougars, KSL News Radio.
When you want a brand new kitchen, there's nothing to it. There's a brand new way to do it. 3-day kitchen and bath.
It's about time someone offered you a complete custom kitchen and bath, remodeled, designed, and built to your specifications and style in just 3 days. It's about time someone offered you a written, unconditional 100% satisfaction guarantee on both their quality and craftsmanship. It's about time someone gave you free professional design and decorating assistance to create your perfect kitchen or bath. And when you remodel your kitchen, you'll save $500 off a complete custom bathroom. Call 3-Day Kitchen and Bath today for your free copy of the Home Remodeling Guide, plus $500 off a complete bathroom remodel and a free design consultation.
It's about time.
3 days or less
at 3-Day Kitchen and Bath.
Whenever I walk through the doors at the Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, whether it's Hotel Park City or downtown Salt Lake City, I know that I am in for a wonderful dining experience. And my guests, my family, whoever is going with me, they're going to have a wonderful experience too. The food is absolutely superb, but the service too is incredible. Just the ambiance and the environment. And when that sizzling hot plate comes out of the kitchen with that steak or the seafood or the poultry dish is perfectly prepared, it's just wonderful. And I often talk about this. There's something so incredible about that first bite at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. It is something you just look forward to. Whether it's a side dish, whether it's a dessert, whatever your favorites are, why don't you put it all together for the perfect meal that's waiting for you at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, Hotel Park City, downtown Salt Lake City.
Don't you deserve health care you can count on? Well, you can count on United Healthcare with Medicare plans that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. You can enjoy reliable coverage and low out-of-pocket costs with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. United Healthcare Medicare Advantage plans. Made for Utah, trusted everywhere. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today.
Trail mix, beef jerky, mixing all the soda flavors at the gas station soda machine. Snacks are better on the road. The gas is better when it's top tier. And the pit stop is better when there's a dinosaur there. Love the filler moments at a Sinclair gas station near you with DinoCare, our top-tier gasoline. Some sweet and salty snacks for the commute, and a big green dino for the memories. Find a gas station near you at sinclairoil.com. Sinclair, fill up your life.
With the three things you need to know this hour, I'm Tim Hughes. First, some Utah lawmakers want Rocky Mountain Power to split from its parent company, Pacific Corp, as Rocky Mountain looks to hike rates over the next year. Second, the owner of Salt Lake City car dealership is facing multiple felony charges accusing him of failing to deliver titles on cars purchased by customers because they were being held by a loan company that he owed money. And third, at least 2 people are dead after storms brought trees down in California. We're going to look for a high today of 58 degrees, and right now in Salt Lake City, it's 46. Let's get you back to David Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic. Dave and Dujanovic. Dave and Dujanovic. Dave and Dujanovic. Special coverage of the top local stories.
Well, there's a proposal on Utah's Capitol Hill pitching a possible jail time. If it passes into law, if a county official, peeks at your ballot, and then they, for purposes that aren't an official purpose. And what I mean by your ballot specifically is the envelope of your ballot, how you mailed it, how you did or didn't use a stamp, if you dropped it off at a ballot box or you put it in the U.S. mailbox down the street from your house. And this all begins a couple of weeks ago when Utah County Clerk Aaron Davidson told us and our colleague Lisa Riley-Roche at the Deseret News, who originally wrote about and broke this story, that he looked at how Senator Mike McKell's ballot, with a method that he used to mail his ballot in, Dave, and that he did not use a postage stamp, which, by the way, is not a requirement.
Right.
But he did disclose that. And here we are today now with the possibility of a new law here in Utah.
Yeah, there's 3 ways that, and correct me if there's a fourth in there, Deb, but yeah, you can mail it through the U.S. Postal Service. You can drop it in a ballot box, or you can vote in person. Those are the 3 ways, and all are legal, totally available. Why do I care? And maybe someone can help me out with this. Why do I care if someone knows how I voted? I get why I would want to keep the way I voted or whom I voted for secret. Yeah. But what do I care if someone knows that, oh, Dave dropped it off in a ballot box? Like, why is there gravitas to that? Why is that important? Why should we care about that?
Representative Stephanie Grecius introducing legislation that would prevent it from being disclosed and looked at unless it was for an official purpose.
So what this bill essentially says is you cannot do a looky-loo at someone's information for fun. If you don't have a specific election-related purpose, then you can't just look up specific individuals.
Joining us right now, Utah County Clerk Aaron Davidson. Thank you for joining us, Aaron. Give us your thoughts as you see Capitol Hill is now pitching possible jail time. They're calling it a looky-loo if you take a look at people's ballots. What are your thoughts on this?
Okay, well, thanks for having me on. But they talk about looking at the ballot. I never looked at anybody's ballot. It was the ballot envelope. The ballot has a constitutional right to be private. The ballot envelope does not. And that's what they're trying to do. Is they're trying to make it less transparent because this was a pissing match between me and Mike McKell, because in January, we decided not to pay for return postage anymore. And that was based upon a bill that he voted to approve in 2015 that said counties administrating elections are not required to pay return postage on absentee ballots, and revised in 2020 stating that all ballots are not required to pay return postage. And Utah County decided to join 18 other counties in not paying return postage, and Mike McKell had a problem with that, and he got on social media and on the media advocating people to return it through the mail system and not put a stamp on it. I feel like my advocation for using the drop box over the U.S. Postal Service, increased the use of our drop boxes by 16%. And of those people that return it through the postal system, 79% of them put a postage stamp on it. I helped save the taxpayer $73,000 this last election, and he's advocating, to make it cost more. So,
well,
there were
what would stop you right now from publicizing how anybody in your county, the method that they use to cast their ballot?
It wouldn't serve any purpose, but it says a political purpose. And the political purpose was to help inspire people to use a more safe and effective, safe and secure way to return their ballot, because there are issues with returning your ballot through the postal system. It's not as safe and secure as the drop box and voting in person. So my political purpose was trying to move people to use the more safe and secure method. And here's Michael McKell out there saying, no, use the Postal Service and don't put a stamp on it. And so he's advocating for a less safe and secure method. And when I called him out and said, well, you're advocating for this, and even you didn't put a stamp on it. And so I think he was chagrined by that. And so now he's using his legislative power to try and counter my argument through legislative edict and saying, oh, what you did is illegal. Well, it wasn't illegal when I did it, but they're trying to make it illegal.
We're speaking with Utah County Clerk Aaron Davidson. And Mr. Davidson, I understand you've articulated why you prefer either a vote in person or a ballot box method, but isn't it just your personal preference, since the Utah legislature has said whether it's ballot box, vote in person, or mail, all are completely and totally acceptable and legal? Do you feel at all like maybe you're just putting your personal preference out there in weighing your personal preference over some of these other methods?
They're absolutely both legal ways, but there's degrees of safe and secure. And I can back it with data if you had time for me to explain why it's not as safe and secure to the U.S. postal system. It just isn't. So I'm trying to advocate and help people see that it's more safe to go and find a drop box or go vote in person.
But you haven't really answered my co-host Dave's question there. Are you just trying to push your personal narrative or your personal preference over what state law says is a perfectly legal method?
Well, I feel like I did answer that question. Yes, it's perfectly legal to return it to the mail system, but it's not as safe and secure. And so I'm trying to promote the most safe and secure way of returning the ballot.
This question might sound a little more confrontational than I intend it to be, but isn't that outside of your lane? Isn't that the job of the legislature to make that determination? I understand how you have a personal preference on this, but as long as, if you don't like the vote by mail, then wouldn't that be you'd have to pitch it to legislators to change it. That can't fall on the county clerk.
So you're saying it's not my responsibility to let the voters know that it's more safe and secure to use our drop boxes rather than the U.S. Postal Service?
No, I guess the question would be the fact that the lawmakers have said these are three equally valid ways. That should be, isn't your job just to allow for those three ways as a county clerk versus trying to change the law itself?
I'm not trying to change the law. I'm trying to change the behavior of the voter in letting them know that it's more safe and secure to use the drop box rather than the U.S. Postal Service. And no legislators has asked me, well, show us the data that you're using that says that the U.S. Postal Service is not safe and secure.
Well, at issue with this proposal is disclosing a method that an individual used who's voting as a private citizen, which we all obviously have a right to do if we're registered to vote. At issue is disclosing the method that was used publicly.
Right.
Do
So
you,
he's a
do
private
you
citizen.
do you have any regrets about doing that?
He's a private citizen, but he's also a public officer. So if he's out publicly pushing for a system that's not safe and secure, he should be proud of how he cast his vote. But apparently he's chagrined by it, by me revealing that he did the exact method that he advocated for. So he should be proud of it rather than chagrined and trying to use his legislative power to make it illegal to find out what that is. If anybody submitted a grammar request on how somebody returned their ballot, it's open in public records. It's not been defined as being private unless he's registered as a private voter or withheld voter. So what I revealed is perfectly grammable information. And so now they're trying to make it even less transparent by enacting this legislation because they're conflating the ballot with the ballot envelope. And so if this law does get passed, there's a has voted record that's created for candidates during the election cycle. That will make that record illegal. So they won't be able to get the has voted record during the 3 weeks before the election.
Well, we'll continue to look into that. I have some concerns that you're saying, Aaron, that did you know the voter status of the individual where you'd released? Because did you know that information?
I didn't actually specifically look at that for him. It was just he was advocating for a less safe and secure method, and he advocated for it, and I let the public know that he used the exact system that he was advocating for. So he's the one that made it public in the first place. If he had never made it public and advocating for the process that he used, he should be proud of it. Everyone has these I voted stickers. I voted. Is that now illegal? Well, you can't tell how somebody turned in their ballot. I did not look at the ballot. The ballot is.
And I've been we've been very clear with that, Mr. Davidson, that the accusations are not that you looked at the ballot, but it was the ballot envelope. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us, Utah County Clerk Aaron Davidson.
9:32 at KSL News Radio. I'm Tim Hughes with a look at some of our top stories. We're just learning about a man found dead in Ogden last Sunday. Police say the man was reportedly homeless and he refused to accept shelter services 2 days earlier. The death is not ruled as suspicious, but a medical examiner will determine the exact cause of death. Salt Lake City Council members are looking at greenlighting 2 new police squads just to patrol the Jordan River Trail. The council indicated yesterday that they'll be in favor of the new hires and using $1.6 million of general city funds. Ben Litke, council policy analyst, said that money would be used for various costs next year.
This would fund 12 new police officers, 2 sergeants, and 10 regular patrol officers. They would form 2 squads dedicated to the Jordan River Trail and the surrounding neighborhoods.
If officially approved, new squads would begin patrolling the Jordan River area. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The nation heads into the holidays with a declining number of layoffs, at least by one leading indicator.
In the week leading up to November 16th, 213,000 out-of-work Americans filed initial claims for unemployment benefits. That's down 6,000 from the week before and the lowest reading since May. California topped the list with 5,900 new first-time claims.
That's ABC's Jim Ryan reporting. Markets right now, your money at this moment. The Dow continues to rise. We're up 1 full percent now with a gain of 428. The S&P is green by 26. The NASDAQ, the only one in the red this morning. It's off 20 points. Coming up, we'll get a closer look at a forecast. 3 warmer days, and then looks like we enter the stormy pattern again to start the next week. KSL News Time, 9:34.
You know what's great about KSL's traffic coverage? Trained traffic reporters and real listeners.
Trading information and making the commute safer and faster for everyone.
Every 10 minutes on the 9s, we have you covered on KSL News Radio.
You know what? I think the holidays are the worst time of year for your furnace to go out. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and every November it feels like people get extra stressed when faced with the need to replace their furnace. The money they've been saving is supposed to go to Christmas, and now they're faced with a choice: Christmas or comfort. This holiday season, Any Hour Services wants to help alleviate some of that stress with our special holiday financing. No money down and no payments until next year. Plus, if you schedule a free estimate before the end of November, Any Hour Services will give you $2,500 off any full system you buy. And that doesn't even factor in the rebates and incentives you might qualify for. Again, during the month of November, Any Hour Services will give you $2,500 off any furnace and air conditioner you buy. And you can take advantage of our special holiday financing with no money down and no payments until next year. For more details, call Any Hour Services and schedule a free estimate. Google Any Hour Services or schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Hey, this is Dan, the laptop man from PC Laptops. Let me tell you an amazing story. Last week, a customer came in. They were a creative director for an agency, and they were frustrated that their old, slow computer wasn't processing their files quick enough. He had a big project due and could not afford any delays. Well, we hooked him up with one of our new, powerful 2025 desktops for only $999, and he was able to complete his project with ease. Take one home today. The new 2025 S1 desktop or SM3 laptop for only $999. You heard that right, $999. You get a blazing fast processor, 16 gigs of RAM, and over a terabyte of blazing storage for $999. What else do you get? Lifetime service warranty, and we have 12 months special financing on approved credit. Hurry in right now because supplies are limited, because at PC Laptops, we love you. Just check us out at PCLaptops.com. $999, PCLaptops.com.
Welcome to Staples.
Help! My family's in for the holidays and I need gift ideas.
That's why we're here. Staples has amazing deals on everything you need. Photo gifts, laptops, and gaming systems. Even custom holiday cards and shipping solutions to send gifts to the family that can't make it.
Perfect! Have anything for Uncle Frank? I love him, but the guy is never quiet.
Noise-canceling headphones. For you.
You get it.
Unwrap huge holiday savings at Staples. And right now at Staples, save up to $350 on select computers. Ends 12/28, in-store only.
Hey, what are you doing up on the step stool?
About to clean these light fixtures. The whole family's coming over. And if there's even a speck of dust in the house, my abuela will find it.
Here, I got a Swiffer duster to help with that.
A Swiffer what?
A Swiffer duster. It has this cool extendable handle that reaches 6 feet to get high and low, with fluffy dusters that easily trap and lock dust.
So no more step stool?
No more step stool.
Easily trap and lock dust from hard-to-reach places with the Swiffer duster. Love it or your money back.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents a gallon. Back to you, Heather.
Our biggest delay right now is on Bangerter Highway. This is eastbound between 3600 and 2700 West. That's where you have construction and lane restrictions in the area. Everybody else appears to be moving nicely, especially I-15 both directions, getting into Salt Lake City. The other end of Bangerter Highway, northbound approaching the 201, also has congestion, but that's typical when the lights turn red. Get started on your dream kitchen or bath countertops with special financing from Bedrock Quartz for up to 18 months. Visit bedrockquartz.com for details. That's bedrockquartz.com. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Partly cloudy today, some breezy winds helping to bring in that warmer air. So we'll reach 58 today, 61 tomorrow, and stay in those upper 50s even on Saturday, with a chance of rain picking up on Saturday evening and then turning to rain and snow on Sunday. Right now, 46 in Salt Lake City from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio. Dave and Dujanovic. Special coverage of the top local story.
We just spoke live to Utah County Clerk Aaron Davidson about a new proposal on Utah's Capitol Hill. The proposal would potentially call for jail time if information about a voter's method of voting was disclosed to the public. Whether you mailed it, you used a stamp, you didn't use a stamp, you put it in a ballot box. Lawmakers are now moving forward with what could become a law about this.
Registration rules, I think, are an important part of the entire process. Okay, so just to be very clear, in no way do any of us think that your ballot and how you voted should be public information. Let's set that aside. That is not what we're talking about. Registration rolls are an important part to validate that the government is doing their job. It's an important part of election integrity, of election security. So how much information is really what we're asking should be available on these rolls? Should it be bare bones? Should it just say Dave Noriega? Should it just say Debbie Dujanovic? Or should there be more detail to that? And I think that's what we're parsing through, is how much information should be on there.
I think for me, when I look at and heard about this legislation, what I thought it was about is whether county clerks should be allowed to talk to the media or talk to the public about how Dave Noriega cast his ballot, if he went to the ballot box or if he cast it in person, if he decided to vote by mail, if he did or didn't use a stamp. And this all begins a few weeks ago when our colleague at the Deseret News spoke to County Clerk Davidson, and he disclosed to her and then to us, and he just joined us moments ago as well, how State Senator Mike McKell had cast his ballot, put it in a mailbox, and didn't use a stamp. And we've also talked to State Senator Mike McKell about how he felt about having that information disclosed. We spoke to him a couple of weeks ago. Not yet this morning, but here's what he told us a few weeks back.
In the interview with Lisa Riley Roach, one of the things that my election clerk said is he wanted to keep a list so he could call out elected officials. And to me, that's clear voter intimidation. I used a legal method to vote. There's been a lot of polling lately. The public, almost 80% of the public supports mail-in balloting. That's a legal method to vote. That's a method that I used. And I've got a county clerk who is supposed to be neutral, who's supposed to run a neutral election. He's targeting elected officials so he can call us out and try to intimidate us.
Now, I would absolutely agree that there's certain information that shouldn't be disclosed to the public. Your personal email, your phone numbers, maybe your full birth date, that kind of information on public voting rolls. I would understand the hesitancy people have. Maybe they want to keep that stuff private. The argument of how you voted, whether you dropped it off to the United States Postal Service or a ballot box or voted in person, I don't see the great need to keep that top secret. Why is it dangerous to have that information out there? Or how can you be exploited in some way? If you're letting out my phone number, my birthday, email, I get you could see the danger or the potential exploitation if that information gets out. That I dropped it off in a ballot box, I've told you guys that 1 million times on air. Like that I don't see any danger in saying how I dropped off my ballot.
Well, is it different though if you're putting that information out there on the radio, or you're showing a screenshot of yourself on Snapchat to all of your friends and followers, and then, or if a county official releases that information on your behalf?
This is a public record, though. Now, not everybody has access to it, right? And you may have to request some of these public records, but it is public record. It is out there.
Voter registration. Some of the information about your voter registration is public. So I want to be clear about that. What I'm looking at the at vote.utah.gov is that voter registration records are public by default. Information that is available to the public includes name, physical and mailing address, so your home address, and if you use a P.O. box, that could be made public, your age range, not your specific age, party affiliation, and vote history. And what they mean by vote history is, did you cast a ballot in the last election or did you not? So voter registration, I can see on this site, is public. I don't see anything about how I voted being, available for public viewing, the method that I used to vote. So this is what lawmakers are discussing right now on Utah's Capitol Hill, is to whether they should make it illegal for a county official or any official to be able to say, Dave and Deb, they went to the mailbox down the street and they did or they didn't use a stamp. That's I think what is at the heart of this discussion that's going on in Capitol Hill right now.
And there's varying levels of information that you can access. So there's some very simple voter registration and voter records that are available, and then you can pay a fee and get another list. Campaigns do this all the time, right, where they pay and they get more in-depth information. There's a has voted list that allows the campaigns will often use. They'll look at, that I noticed that this community hasn't voted. We're going to focus a lot of our last month efforts right here in this area. Campaigns do that kind of stuff all the time. So there are varying levels of information that is out there that doesn't need a hacker, but you may need to pay, $15 to get some information.
But you can also opt into keeping your information private, your voter registration information private. So there is that option as well. So this is an ongoing debate. Clearly, legislative session hasn't even begun yet. It doesn't begin until January. And this is already spinning up on Utah's Capitol Hill. You heard earlier this morning from Aaron Davidson, the county clerk, who called in, and he talked about what he's talked to us about before.
My political purpose was trying to move people to use the more safe and secure method. And here's Michael McKell out there saying, no, use the Postal Service and don't put a stamp on it. And so he's advocating for a less safe and secure method. And when I called him out and said, well, you're advocating for this, and even you didn't put a stamp on it. So I think he was chagrined by that. And so now he's using his legislative power to try and counter my argument through legislative edict.
But it is Representative Stephanie Grecius who is pitching this bill. We've reached out to her to see if she can join the show later on today or tomorrow. We'll take a call from her anytime. Much more ahead on KSL News Radio. Straight ahead, Tampa Bay Rays baseball stadium has hit a snag, which raises some questions for my very own co-host, Dave Noriega.
It might hurt us. It might hurt our chances or delay our chance of getting a Major League Baseball team here in Utah. I'll tell you about that next.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Current events can have a lot of moving parts. Our job is to make it easy to keep up.
You're part of a bigger world, so spend 15 or 20 minutes here and be part of it.
Join us weekday mornings between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Now, I have a brand new garage door because I just moved into a brand new home. And I took for granted how nice it is to have a quiet garage door because I had a tank. It was so noisy with my old house.
What's so great about Advanced Garage Doors is you get this lifetime warranty on all residential doors and all the parts. So you'll have peace of mind knowing that your garage door is always protected as long as you follow their recommendations.
Yeah, any garage door or motor installed by Advanced Garage Doors includes a free inspection and tune-up once a year.
And they've got this proprietary 23-point safety inspection to make sure your garage door is functioning just as it should, and free zero-cost estimates to give you an itemized list of things to make sure your garage door is functioning A-OK.
Now, there are certain parts of your garage door where, quite frankly, it is just not safe for you to do yourself, and you may want to consider using a certified professional at Advanced Garage Doors.
That's right. Financing is available, and they're really easy to get a hold of.
Make sure you reach out. Advanced-door.com is the website, advanced-door.com.
Or they would welcome your phone call as well, 801-252-5977. Again, Advanced Garage Doors phone number is 801-252-5977.
In 2024, dating is a disaster. We've been ghosted, breadcrumbed, stuck in situationships. Hi, I'm Debbie. I'm Caitlin. Welcome to our new podcast, Dating at Her Age. Dating has been so dicey for us, we asked KSL, can we launch an all-new podcast about it?
People use these dating apps. You're not really dating when you're on the dating app.
Dating at Her Age, brought to you by Mountain Home Services. A new episode drops every Thursday on KSLNewsRadio.com.
To all you tool people out there, has Harbor Freight got a deal for you? Big savings every single day this November. Because we know that right now, when the price of everything only seems to go up, you need a place where prices stay low. So shop in-store or online for quality tools you can trust at prices you'll love every day. Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Febreze. As a rideshare driver, I love keeping my car smelling fresh and clean. So when I'm driving, I only trust Febreze car vent clips, featuring 3 distinct intensity settings, because it's that little touch that sets me apart. I can turn the intensity down for subtle freshness, or I can turn it up for when I want lots of scent. So whether it's set to low, medium, or high, with Febreze car, I know my car's going to smell amazing. Which keeps my driver rating right where it belongs. Picking up, Oscar!
What was that? That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud Phone System. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs.
You sound very...
Calm? I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Nice. Find your business calm at ooma.com/radio.
Common Spirit Health. Hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advance healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Healthcare with Human Kindness is here. Hello, Human Kindness.
Join us at the Festival of Trees, a magical event benefiting the children at Intermountain Primary Children's Hospital. From December 4th to December 7th, the Mountain America Expo Center will transform into a winter wonderland of beautifully decorated trees, wreaths, and gingerbread houses, along with other fun-filled shops and activities. All funds raised help to create the nation's model health system for children. Together, we can make this holiday season a gift of love to change a child's life. Get tickets at festivalofTreesUtah.org.
The Good Feet Store. The life you love starts here.
The Salt Lake Chamber is Utah's voice for business. Okay, that sounds great, but what does it really mean? Well, as Utah's largest and longest-standing business association, they support and champion community prosperity throughout the state. And if you're in business, well, that's a very good thing for you. Be sure to listen to the Chamber's Speaking on Business, weekdays at 7:20, 11:55, and 5:20 p.m. on KSL News Radio.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Tim Hughes. First, school officials say a non-credible bomb threat has led to a 2-hour delayed start at Olympus Junior High. Second, the Heber City Police Department arrested 3 people in connection to gang activity. Police say there have been multiple reports of assault throughout this year. And third, the Better Business Bureau says scams are up 125% this year compared to last year, and they're reminding people to be careful when holiday shopping. We're going to look for a high today of 58 degrees and right now 46 in Salt Lake City. Now back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave, and Dujanovic.
Let's talk baseball. Talking specifically about the Tampa Bay Rays, Dave spotting a story on the Associated Press that suggests their baseball stadium might be hitting some financial skids when it comes to a bond. And that raised your eyebrows and your interest, Dave.
Because I'm afraid that it might hurt our chances of landing a Major League Baseball team in Utah. Now, if you're wondering, like, why in the world should I care about what's happening in Tampa, Florida? Well, okay, so there's several things that are going on. And in part because I want baseball so badly. Debbie, I know you want baseball here in Utah so badly as well.
And there is a plan afoot. In fact, you and I broadcast live from right across the street several months back when we found out more information about the stadium that's being built and in the works on the west side. So that sparked our hopes.
Yeah, you remember Gail Miller's announcement.
Friends and partners have joined together in a coalition to bring Major League Sports baseball to Utah.
Yeah, there was this big announcement. They basically laid out the plan. This is where we would build it. It's over going to be on the west side of I-15. And there was this big rollout. So the big question we had at the time was, is Major League Baseball even looking? Are they even looking at expanding? And the Major League Baseball commissioner, Rob Manfred, and this is the key. He said, before we look at expansion, and that's presumably how we would get a baseball team, is it would be a Major League Expansion team.
Would add some teams to
yeah,
the league.
Yeah, there's 30 teams right now. They'd expand it to 32. Hopefully, we would be one of those 2 expansion teams. But Rob Manfred said, there's one caveat, and he said this for years. We're not going to talk about expansion. We're not going to do anything with expansion until we figure out what's going on with the Oakland A's and what's going on with the Tampa Bay Rays. Those are the 2 things, because they have not been supported by the community. They haven't been making money. So he said, until we figure out what's going on with those 2 teams, we're not even talking about expansion. Well, Oakland and their owner, John Fisher, decide to pack up, leave Oakland, and move to Las Vegas. So they're going to build a big stadium where the Tropicana was. So the A's taken care of. Well, we thought the Rays were taken care of as well, because the Rays, the county commission had said, yeah, we're going to bond. We're going to build the Rays a brand new stadium. It's going to be hundreds of millions of dollars. We're going to bond $312 million of that money for the new stadium. So then it looked like, okay, just like the commissioner wanted, the A's are taken care of and the Rays are taken care of. So now let's talk about expansion. Well, then Hurricane Milton hit. And Hurricane Milton hit the Tampa area, and it hit it hard. In Tropicana Field, which is where the Rays play, the roof got torn off. I mean, you saw the pictures. It was $60 million worth of damage to that place. Well, now they're looking at, well, do we pour in $60 million into an old stadium that's going to be torn down? What about the new stadium? Well, after this most recent election, the new county commissioners came in and said, we're putting a pause on this. We're not just going to rubber stamp this new Rays stadium.
So a bond.
Yeah, the bond.
Okay.
So we're going to put a pause on this.
Uh-huh.
And now, all of a sudden, it has changed the deadlines. And it looks like, according to this AP news article, that it may not just be a pause, it might be a pause forever. Well, that all of a sudden throws the Rays' viability in Tampa up in the air. And again, as long as the Rays are up in the air and we don't know what we're going to do with the Rays, then Major League Baseball is not going to look at expansion. And we are all about expansion.
So I'm looking at this article. It looks like it posted, what day of the week is it? Are we on the 21st here? It posted on November 20th, so that was last night, on KSL.com, Dave. And I want to bounce this off you. It says Tampa area politicians will be given time to sort out the Rays ballpark situation following Hurricane Milton, which you just referenced. And the baseball commissioner, Rob Manfred, said there has been no thought to allowing the team to explore a relocation.
Yeah. They all say that. So I've heard that from every owner, every commissioner in the history of sports. And then 2 weeks later, they'll pack up and move out. I don't know. Maybe he's absolutely honest in that, and maybe the Rays don't move. But until we have settled what happens with the Rays, Major League Baseball has said we're not interested in looking at expansion.
And what you mean settle is you mean the people of Florida, or the commissioners in Florida, determine what to do in terms of what they want to do in terms of financing or assisting with financing of a field.
Yeah, exactly. Settled can be a couple of different things. It can be either, hey, we're going to build a brand new stadium and the Rays are going to stay in Tampa, or settled could also be we're going to move the Rays to Nashville, or wherever. If they were to move, that also would be considered settled. That's what the A's did. They moved to Las Vegas. So until these teams are settled, we can't really look at expansion, which is kind of bad news for us, I think.
Dave on Rays watch. Stay on top of it, Dave.
Build that stadium or move. Do something. Come play with us.
Straight ahead, daily bus pickup delays stacking up at West High. Groups of students waiting for a school bus after classes let out. I cannot believe how long these kids have been waiting. We'll talk about it next.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top story this hour, fender bender turned into a chase last evening along I-15. KSL TV's Debbie Worthen reports a highway patrol trooper caught up with the driver near 5300 South, but it didn't end there.
He pulled him over, tried to take that man into custody, but a struggle ensued, and ultimately that man made a run for it and made his way onto the frontage road. Now, off of the freeway, UHP says the driver tried to jump a fence. Well, the trooper chased him, grabbed him, and in an effort to make an arrest, again, a struggle ensued. Well, that's when the officer tased him and finally was able to arrest him.
Police are investigating whether that driver was under the influence. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Republican members of Congress are being warned to get behind President-elect Trump's cabinet picks or face political consequences later on. If they don't, a senior advisor to Trump says they could face primary challenges when they run for re-election. Trump is also suggesting that if any of his picks are not confirmed by the Senate, he could use his power to make interim appointments. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average soaring right now, 359 points up, about 0.8%. NASDAQ, though, down 81 points right now. And our KSL weather, we've got partly cloudy skies for a couple of days. That's next. KSL News Time, 10:01.
We hope you have the right app on your phone for news. You probably have dozens.
But the KSL News Radio app, well, it makes our live stream super easy.
Plus, our talk shows are right there as podcast for your workday.
That's the app for KSL News Radio.
When I was looking for specialized care for my mom, it was super important for me to find a safe place for her that would feel like home. And that's exactly what you will find at the Beaumont Assisted Living and Memory Care in Bountiful. The new owners and management take pride in hiring people who are going to provide the best care, whether it be for those in assisted living or those who require specialized memory care. Their super caregivers are committed to delivering wow experiences through their compassion and positive interactions. In this newly remodeled community, they've also created wow experiences with so many special spaces like an art room, library, and theater room. Plus, they have added beautiful windows that make the common rooms feel light and spacious. It's a place the whole family will like to visit to enjoy the incredible family game room or to sit together by one of the fire pits. The Beaumont Assisted Living and Memory Care at 1150 South Main Street in Bountiful, where compassion and care come first. Find out more at thebeaumontassistedliving.com.
It's official. KSL Sports is your official radio home of the Utah Hockey Club. When the puck hits the ice this fall, you'll hear every goal, every check, and every tension-filled moment on the KSL Sports Zone. Plus, let your voice be heard on the Utah Hockey Club Fan Forum on KSLSports.com, your exclusive home of the NHL and the Utah Hockey Club in Utah is KSL Sports and 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Don't you deserve healthcare you can count on? Well, you can count on United Healthcare with Medicare plans that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. You can enjoy reliable coverage and low out-of-pocket costs with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. United Healthcare Medicare Advantage plans. Made for Utah, trusted everywhere. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today.
You wouldn't know it, but most financial advisors are put in a box. I'm Jeff Jr. from Trajan Wealth, and I want to provide you a little insight about financial advisors. Most financial advisors have to sell what their company requires them to sell, and many advisors have to only adhere to what's called a suitability standard. A suitability standard is a limited standard of care, not requiring what's sold to be best, just suitable. Advisors with this loose standard often have limited investment and product selection. Trajan Wealth is held to a fiduciary standard, which is the highest standard of care in the advisory business. And that's just one of the many reasons we have billions of dollars under our care and attract clients from other advisors. Raise your standards today and call Trajan Wealth. Call 801-899-7600. That's 801-899-7600.
Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. And here's Heather Kelly.
Orange construction barrels are going to be the biggest thing drivers encounter right now across the Wasatch Front. Got them pretty much everywhere, especially on Bangerter Highway and Legacy Parkway. Right now, there's not a lot of delay from these lane restrictions, but as we get more traffic during the noon hour and later in the afternoon drive, that will, of course, change. Right now, we're accident-free on all the major freeways. Already an electrician and want more? Get paid what you're worth and earn the benefits you deserve. To learn more, visit IBEW354.org. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Dry with mild fall temperatures today and tomorrow. Clouds move in on Saturday. Rain and snow likely on Sunday. Right now, 48 degrees, partly cloudy. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com for Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
Dave and I starting our 10 o'clock hour with this story out of the Desert News about West High students here in downtown Salt Lake City being dismissed from class for the day, and that the way that the district has scheduled the bus pickup for after school, every day after school, the bus would arrive 30 minutes after kids were excused from class. That's my ticking clock.
Just waiting for the bus to arrive.
And this was actually talked about in a recent audit, a legislative audit. And it found that 165 students, Dave, faced, 30-minute bus pickup wait times after school let out. And in a school year, if you add it all up, according to the Deseret News, that's 70 hours of waiting for each student. So that, for you and I, that would be 2 lost weeks almost of work time. Just waiting.
Just waiting for the bus to arrive. Now, this isn't, the bus is just showing up 30 minutes late every day?
No, they're scheduled.
Okay. So they're scheduled 30 minutes after school, or is it that it's probably 30 minutes after the first set of buses that arrive?
So the other kids get picked up and they take off, and then 23 minutes later, the 165 students, their buses come rolling up.
So there's a couple things that jump into my mind about this. Having been a school bus driver, my mom was a school bus driver for 25 years. My brother, long history of school bus drivers here. So I've been there. There's a few things that stand out to me of why this is effective. Oftentimes you have kids after school that may need some after-school tutoring, or they need to go talk to a teacher, or they need to, maybe an after-school activity, or touching base, or go to the office, and then they're racing to get out to the bus in time. So sometimes having that delayed bus or that 30-minute difference allows kids to run around and do some of the after-school stuff instead of hurry up, get out of school, pack your bag, run out to the bus and catch it.
So you wouldn't mind it if your child was standing out there 30 minutes every single day for day after day after day for 69 hours in the school year waiting for the bus to swoop in and pick them up?
Yeah, as long as they know that it's not showing up until 30 minutes, 23 minutes later, then they can adapt their behavior. It would be another thing if it were a surprise. If they were just routinely showing up 30 minutes later and all the kids are sitting outside in the cold, shivering, that would be a problem.
Well, in winter that might be happening.
Yeah, I don't think they'd like drive them out of the school though.
So I just like, is this government? Is this an inefficient way to transport our kids? And what this legislative audit found is that what it comes down to is this policy that the Salt Lake City School District has. It's called shared governance. And it's been in place for decades. And my read of shared governance is that you allow, as a district or whatever whatever government agency you are, you allow for decisions not only at the district office or the school board level, but you also allow like parents to get involved in decisions and school officials at the school level to get involved. And this is the issue, which sounds wonderful. If you just on its face, that sounds wonderful, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what this apparently did, however, is that because of a middle school, because of shared governance and some pickup times and drop-off times at a middle school up the road, it then delays the bus pickup for the kids at West High. So shared governance means you're going to share in a lot of other areas too. You're going to be sharing in the bus pickup delay. But for me, it's this almost 70 hours of a school year standing just waiting for the bus. In those 70 hours, I looked at what could a child, high schooler, accomplish. And there is a certification program that in 70 hours, it's like 9 days, they could be trained for backcountry wilderness rescue.
Yes.
So I'm like,
that's an after-school program.
So are these kids just waiting there? Are we actually, as taxpayers and as parents and as a school district and as schools, providing some extracurricular activity for them to engage in if they want to, or are they just waiting there? And we're just okay with that. And also, it took an audit to figure this out. So those are my takeaways.
Yeah, I think kids blow through 23 minutes of their day as an afterthought. I get it when you start adding it up throughout all the time. Yeah, if kids would spend less time on Instagram, they could get so much more done. The difficult thing about school buses and the shared governance is a problem because when you're a school bus driver, you don't just drive West High. You drive high school, junior high, and elementary. And you are to the minute trying to pick people up, drop them off so you can be to the next spot on time. And you got to make sure that you get all of the high school kids dropped off because you got to hustle over to get the kids over at the elementary school. So when you have a bunch of different times, it is difficult to balance all of that, especially if every school has a little bit of a tweak on their bell schedule or when they're having early outs, whatever it might be.
So do you think this gets in the way? And when it comes to transportation, maybe it's a great idea when you're talking about, activities that are going on in the classroom or what they offer for after-school activities. But does this become this concept, or in this case, it's how they do things? Does this get in the way of efficiency when it comes to transportation?
That's a great point. I feel so badly for the transportation districts, or the school district transportation division, because every time you tweak, we're going to do a late start on Wednesday, or we're going to do an early out on Monday, we're going to take this day off, or this is absolute chaos for the drivers and the bus schedules and everyone trying to make these work. Again, because these buses, they are arriving within just a couple of minutes, right? They are on a very tight schedule. So any kind of adjustment, if one school is doing one thing and another school is doing another, it just creates chaos. And in my experience, it usually is like, well, hey, transportation department, just figure it out. This is when we need to pick up kids.
So I'm just going to talk about this as a mom. This would drive me crazy. I would probably be okay with it for an occasional, the bus gets behind. I get those issues. If it was every single day, 30 minutes a day, and all school year long, rain, snow, or shine, that my kid's waiting out there for 30 minutes a day, where it really does start to add up. You and I wouldn't be, in the workforce, if we were just waiting for a bus for 30 minutes a day and we were costing the company 70 hours of work time in a school year, not full year, they'd be asking us, you got to get to work. What's going on with your schedule? But I also look at it from a child safety perspective. You've got, high schoolers over, across in there. I look at it. I would just drive me. I would be concerned about that, and I would want something done about it. And I'm surprised we hadn't heard anything about this until we saw this legislative audit get released that students at West High, at least 165 of them over the course of a school year, waiting 30 minutes a day for the school bus to come pick them up after school because of the way the school bus schedule works. Am I being too soft as a mom? Should our kids just be, you just wait 30 minutes a day for now and then, by the way, you're in high school for 4 years. 801-575-TALK, 801-575-TALK. Weigh in. You think it's okay for students to be waiting 30 minutes, maybe even more a day, and then they've got the bus ride home after? It is near downtown Salt Lake City. I could see it if we were out in rural Utah, maybe. But even then, kids waiting 30 minutes a day at the bus stop? No way for this, Mom. How about you? 801-575-TALK. Let's take your live calls next.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Here's a trick to podcasting at work and getting all the Utah news you love.
Download the KSL News Radio app.
The podcast for Utah's morning news and Dave and Debbie are right there. Dozens of podcasts a day.
That's the app for KSL News Radio.
Everyone's seen a vending machine, but what about a giving machine? The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints has placed the world's most amazing giving machines in 106 cities around the world, including Orem, Salt Lake City, Ogden, Logan, and St. George. Giving machines are vending machines where you select items or services to be given to someone in need here or around the world. Community Action Services and Food Bank is excited to be part of the giving machines at University Place in Orem by giving food for a weekend meal for a child or for meals in their food pantries, giving a warming center kit, or another needed service. You make a difference for a child, for a neighbor. Learn more about how you can light the world when you visit casfb.org. casfb.org. The giving machines are open from November 25th through January 3rd. 100% of donations go towards your gift. All transaction fees are covered by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Discover the joy of giving with the Light the World giving machines.
BYU's season comes down to sudden death. Now it's a one-game season. Beat Arizona State for a path to the championship game.
Moa running hard, 15 and 12-yard line for Sione Moa.
This Saturday, it's do or die. BYU, Arizona State. KSL Special Extended Pregame starts Saturday at 11, and kickoff is at 1:30 on Utah's legacy home of the Cougars, KSL News Radio.
Whenever I walk through the doors at the Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, whether it's Hotel Park City or downtown Salt Lake City, I know that I am in for a wonderful dining experience. And my guests, my family, whoever is going with me, they're going to have a wonderful experience too. The food is absolutely superb, but the service too is incredible. Just the ambiance and the environment. And when that sizzling hot plate comes out of the kitchen with that steak or the seafood or the poultry dish is perfectly prepared, it's just wonderful. And I often talk about this. There's something so incredible about that first bite at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. It is something you just look forward to. Whether it's a side dish, whether it's a dessert, whatever your favorites are, why don't you put it all together for the perfect meal that's waiting for you at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. Hotel Park City, downtown Salt Lake City.
Food brings people together, but many families don't know where their next meal is coming from. In Utah, 317,000 people, many of whom are children, are struggling with food insecurity. And Macy's is continuing the tradition of bringing hope to families in need. You can help provide hope by donating to Macy's Harvest of Hope Drive, now through November 30th. All donations will be donated to a local food bank to serve families in our communities. Purchase an icon for any amount or a prepackaged bag of food with items that food pantries need most at any Macy's store or online at Macys.com. Look for items tagged with the Harvest of Hope icon throughout the store. A portion of sales from those items will also be donated to local food pantries. Together, we can make a difference in our communities and provide hope to families and children facing food insecurity. Visit Macys.com or your local Macy's grocery store to learn more.
Any Hour Services can help you make sure your furnace keeps you warm this winter. Whether you need a tune-up or repair or a second opinion about replacing it, call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Whatever you love, find it on eBay. eBay, things people love.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer? Can we sleep cooler? Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now, during our Black Friday sale, save 50% on the Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Plus free home delivery when you add a base. And Cyber Monday. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, a fender bender turned into a police chase overnight in Salt Lake City. Second, staffers for President-elect Trump warning members of Congress they could face political consequences if they don't support his cabinet nominations. Third, some members of the legislature want to see Rocky Mountain Power split off from its parent company, Pacific Corp. 50 degrees, partly cloudy in Salt Lake City. Back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Bus wait times. Boy, have the students at West High, at least some of them, been waiting a lot of hours for the after-school bus to pick them up. An audit finding, that's my ticking clock. It's ticking slowly. 165 students face 30-minute bus pickup wait times after school, and it's how it's scheduled. It's not like the bus got delayed because it got a flat tire. It's how it's scheduled every single day, and it added up to like 69 hours of wait time for these students during the school year.
So my son has probably a 30-minute, 45-minute wait every single day because he waits for his mom to get done with work. He goes to a junior high school. She works at the elementary school. He's got to wait for her to get out of school. So he just sits around for 45 minutes. And I hadn't really done the math and see how much time he was wasting waiting for mom to drive him home. But what he does, he takes that time to do some of his homework.
Good.
Right? So you can effectively use that time. Most of the time, I think these high school kids are probably just scrolling Instagram.
I want to get to Neil, who called in, because I said it would just drive me crazy if my kids every single day after school were waiting 30 minutes for a bus to pick them up. My mind goes in there. Like, so many things could happen in those 30 minutes. These are high schoolers, though, so maybe not everybody feels that same way. Hi, Neil.
Hi, how you doing?
Good. Do you have any heartburn with kids waiting that long for a school bus to come pick them up?
Let me tell you my story. This is 1967, of course, so same scenario, different chance. We got out of our school, let out. We were crammed into an area of the school that it kind of held us. And then a bus from the Upper Valley, we call the Upper Valley Huntsville, Eden, and Liberty. And we had 2 buses for that area.
Did you have to wait a long time?
We waited a long time to get for the bus to get there. Then both buses would be crowded into one bus, driven halfway up Ogden Canyon. If anybody's familiar with it, it's to where the Oaks is.
Yeah.
And then another the Eden Liberty bus would be there. Would be a transfer and go home. While I was waiting there, a bullying situation. I was kind of bullied by someone. Had put me in a situation that I deemed unsafe. To be actuality, I got to look at the blade end of a knife from
wow.
Jeez, Neil, it's taking a turn.
So
things happen.
I looked at the knife, walked out the back door of Weber High, crossed 12th Street, stuck my thumb out, thumbed home, and I then thumbed home every day for the rest of my almost every day for the rest of my
these
my
days,
high school
yeah,
years.
these days we do not recommend hitchhiking. But thanks for your story.
Oh, how times have changed.
I want to
Neil.
bring on Mary Catherine Perry. She's been on the show before. She's lives in the Salt Lake City School District, and you were here listening to this segment. We so appreciate you listening to the show. And we were talking about how this has kind of come to be, and the legislative auditor finding that it was shared governance, school district kind of sharing planning and decisions with teachers and with principals and parents. And you texted me and you're like, "Can I call in?" You absolutely. What's your concern with this when it comes to this transportation issue at West High?
Well, thanks for having me on this morning. I have been following this issue since the audit of 2022 that the legislature did of the Salt Lake City School District, and I watched the audit hearing that happened on Tuesday, but I've been living this in the Salt Lake City School District for, almost 20 years. And so my experience is that the busing is a symptom of a much bigger challenge that parents and families and students experience in the Salt Lake City School District. So I've sat on the school community council and chaired one at the elementary, middle, and high school now. I'm very involved with and aware of how shared governance works in the Salt Lake City School District, and it's different from every other school district in the state. And so what you have inside each school in Salt Lake City is a school improvement council, and that is unique to our school district, and they hold a lot of power. It's made up of teachers, administrators, support staff, and they have much more power than is anywhere else in the state. And so they can override principals' decisions and directives and wishes for that school based on their power within each school.
How does that play in your view, Mary Catherine, to issues like what's being experienced at West High? And one of the things it does at news sites is that because up the road, the middle school, has to get its bus pickup at a certain time, then these 165 students at West High are having to wait 30 minutes for pickup after school. Is that another symptom of shared governance that's affecting our kids?
Right. Well, every school has this power to make site-based decisions. So at our elementary school, for example, the third grade team could change math curriculum from the rest of the school, or you might have at a high school changing their schedule, irrespective of the rest of the busing schedule for the whole district. So they take into account what they want and they want at that particular school, but it may not sync up with what the district is doing or even what the principal wants for that school. Because the principal could say, I would like to do this, but if the SIC within the school votes a different way, the principal doesn't have the power to make that decision. And that's so unusual for public schools in Utah. And you can see that with a lot of different things. 2 years ago, we tried to pass a cell phone policy at East High, but our SIC didn't want to do it. And so we've been sitting on that for 2 years waiting for that to happen. And so there's busing issues. There's all kinds of shared governance things where the best interest of the students and families is not typically at the top of the list when those shared governance decisions are made.
So is the solution what?
Well, I know the legislature is looking at some solutions, and that is to perhaps limit the power of those groups within each school, perhaps remove them entirely. But I think from the audit meeting that I saw on Tuesdays, the speaker and president and the members of that committee were very interested in restoring power to the district administrators and to the principals where it should be. They're looking out for an entire community. They're looking out for teachers, administrators, families, and students, and they should have more power in the decision making for their school as it is related to the rest of the district.
Mary Catherine Perry, thank you so much for joining us. I love your insight since you've been there and so active. Thank you for joining us.
Straight ahead, scroll less, save more money. Dave and I continue to go in depth to keep you right on the money. We're talking about social media, and it's called de-influencing. But first, breaking news.
We're seeing it from a couple of different sources now. We were tracking this, but according to CNN and Fox News, they're coming in with breaking news as well, that Matt Gaetz, the representative out of Florida, who was nominated by President Trump to be his attorney general, is withdrawing his name from AG consideration. We're seeing that from both Fox News and CNN, that Matt Gaetz says he is withdrawing his attorney general nomination.
Yeah, nominated just a few days ago by President-elect Donald Trump. We're going to step away for just a minute, hand things over to our newsroom, and come back with reaction to this major announcement.
It's 10:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomis. KSL's top story this hour. We're hearing reports now that Matt Gaetz, President-elect Trump's nominee for Defense Secretary, is withdrawing his nomination. We have not yet confirmed that, but we will be providing more information to you on that as soon as we have it available. Some Utah lawmakers want Rocky Mountain Power to split from its parent company, Pacific Corp. Lawmakers asked Rocky Mountain to look into the feasibility of splitting after they made a request for big rate increases through 2026. Rocky Mountain President Dick Garlish defended the request in a hearing at Utah's Capitol yesterday.
This isn't profit. This is money that's been prudently expended to provide the services that we were providing today.
Garlish says it would take at least a year and a half to figure out how a split from Pacific Corp could be arranged. Our top national story this hour, again from ABC News. Ukraine claims Russia's fired an intercontinental ballistic missile at its territory. The United States, though, says that's not so. ICBMs are the longest-range missiles, and they are capable of carrying nuclear weapons. The U.S. says what was fired at Ukraine was an intermediate-range ballistic missile. The U.S. has authorized the use of American missiles with a somewhat longer range than those used in the past. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average, up now 454 points, just over 1% on the day. The NASDAQ, on the other hand, is down by about 6 points. And our KSL weather, looks like we'll see partly cloudy skies the next couple of days. KSL News Time, 10:32.
It's a priority for us at this station to bring you all sides of a story and to talk about the news fairly, completely.
Get all the facts and be really aware. Utah's Morning News with us, Tim and Amanda.
Weekday mornings 5 to 9 on KSL News Radio.
One of the things I love about Mountain Home Services is it really has become one-stop shopping as they've joined forces with Master Electrical Service.
We love the fact that they can not only work on your electrical needs, but also now they're installing fireplaces. And the beauty of this is they'll not only install it expertly, of course, but also they'll help you pick the right one out.
That's right. And I love a fireplace. I love, especially when it's cold, kind of like it is right now, to throw the fireplace on. It's great ambiance, but it actually has some great real heat. If you want to heat up a room real quick, what a great way to do it. So make sure you reach out to Mountain Home Services by going to mountainhomeutah.com, mountainhomeutah.com, or you can check them out. Give them a call, 801-543-2222. That's 801-543-2222.
Hey, this is Dan, the laptop man from PC Laptops. Myth. You might have heard that you need to spend a fortune these days to get a powerful computer. Correction. At PC Laptops, we wanted to prove that wrong. So here's the most amazing deal that we've ever done at PC Laptops for you in over 30 years. The new 2025 S1 desktop or SM3 laptop for only $999. You heard that right, $999. You get a blazing fast processor, 16 gigs of RAM, and over a terabyte of blazing storage for $999. What else do you get? Lifetime service warranty, and we have 12 months special financing on approved credit. Take one home today. Hurry in right now because supplies are limited, because at PC Laptops, we love you. Just check us out at PCLaptops.com. $999, PCLaptops.com.
Are you looking to save on internet and mobile this holiday season? Well, good news. Xfinity's having a Black Friday sale. They have you covered with these great deals. Learn how to get your choice of 5G phone on Xfinity. Plus, you can also get fast, reliable Xfinity internet and a line of Xfinity Mobile Unlimited for a great low price. So don't wait. Bring home a new 5G phone and get Wi-Fi speeds up to a gig on Xfinity Mobile. That's a big deal. Or should I say gig deal? Now through December 3rd, ask how to get your choice of a free 5G phone with an unlimited plus line. Plus, get Xfinity Gigabit Internet with free Wi-Fi equipment for only $25 a month for 12 months. No annual contract when you add unlimited mobile. Go to Xfinity.com/Black Friday sale to learn more. Restrictions apply. Taxes and fees extra after promo. Regular rates apply. Gig Wi-Fi requires Xfinity Gateway. Xfinity Mobile requires Xfinity Internet. Gig speeds available via hotspots to Xfinity Mobile customers only. Reduced speeds after use of monthly data included with your data option. Actual internet speeds and data thresholds may vary.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. And here's Heather Kelly.
Well, we remain accident-free right now all across the Wasatch Front. Haven't had any reports of crashes on city streets or the major freeways. And if you're sticking with I-15, the east or west side belt routes or 201 freeway, they are traveling at speed at north, south, east, and west. So right now it's a good time to be on the roads. Teens can get up to $200 with a Teen Learn and Earn account, plus continuing earning rewards as they master the essentials of finance. More at cypresscu.com/teen. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
It'll be dry with mild fall temperatures today and tomorrow. Then clouds move in on Saturday. Rain and snow likely on Sunday. 50 degrees and mostly cloudy right now. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Moments ago, we found out that Attorney General for the United States Department of Justice, Matt Gaetz, has withdrawn his nomination and his name. President-elect Donald Trump had nominated Gaetz for the top law enforcement position, quite frankly, in the nation. And Gaetz said that his nomination had, he says, his confirmation was unfairly becoming a distraction to the critical work of the Trump and Vance transition. No time to waste on needlessly protracted Washington scuffle. Thus, I'll be withdrawing my name from consideration to serve as Attorney General.
Now, Gaetz had met with a number of senators yesterday. I think they were trying to figure out, is there enough support? Is this kind of pushback? Is this coming from Republicans? Because quite frankly, if the Republican Party, the Senate, was united around Matt Gaetz, it doesn't matter what anyone else said. It didn't matter. He doesn't need one vote from Democrats. It doesn't need to be bipartisan. He just needed to rally at least 50 votes from the Senate. 51 votes, makes it super easy. And he's Attorney General. So he met with senators, was trying to rally that support. It sounds like he, as he said in his tweet, had incredible support of many, but obviously he probably did the math and realized he doesn't have enough votes to get this done.
Well, certainly news stories were mounting, and in fact, the New York Times headline, Federal Inquiry traced payments from Gaetz to women. And it goes on to say a document prepared by federal investigators bolstered claims by women who say they were hired for sex by Matt Gaetz. Gaetz has denied these allegations. We were waiting to see whether the House would release the House Ethics Committee would release its report on Gaetz. But here we are. Greg Skordas, our KSL legal analyst. What's your reaction to this development?
I think, Debbie, that Gaetz did the math. He needed like Dave said, 50-plus a vote, and he only could afford to lose 3 Republicans because the Democrats, the 47 Democrats, are going to vote against him. He needs all but 3 of the Republicans, and I think he could see what was blowing in the wind and that there were probably at least 3 that were not going to vote for him. Plus, there's this huge discussion about the Ethics Committee's report. Is that going to be buried now that he's not in the House anymore, or is it going to be relevant now that he is a candidate for a nominee for the highest law enforcement position in the land, a United States Attorney General? I think it would have been relevant. I think the Democrats were going to make it relevant, and he did not want that information coming out.
Greg, these allegations go back years. In fact, the Department of Justice looked into it as well. Going back into the memory archives, I'm wondering, why didn't the Department of Justice, if there was, I guess, meat to these allegations, why didn't they ever charge him?
I guess meat is the definitive word. I don't know that there was enough there to do that. And I don't know that the alleged victims, so let's just say that worst case scenario, he had some relationship with a 17-year-old female. That person may not have wanted to come forward. She may not have wanted anything to do with this. And without a cooperative witness, victim, they don't have much of a case. She may have disclosed what happened and said, this is what happened, this is what he did. I was along for the ride, but I was underage, but I don't want anything to do with your House ethics panel. So I think that they just felt like they didn't have enough evidence to charge him criminally. But the civil, or I'll call it the administrative end, the House ethics end of it, has a little bit different proof. You don't have to go through a jury. You don't have to go through a judge. You don't have to go through a trial with all the evidence. You just present the evidence to the House committee, and they make a decision as to what to do. And I think he did not want to go through that, especially in relation to his nomination for Attorney General.
Is that problematic that with these ethics committee investigations, the fact that there is no trial, there is no jury, there is no, hey, these are the allegations, there's no witnesses. I could see that being problematic because it feels very one-sided.
Yeah, but in America, we have this due process where if you're going to put somebody in jail, you got to go through a judge and jury.
Right.
If it's just a matter of can you keep your job or not, we don't have the same level of due process. You don't have the same rights to confront your witnesses, to have a jury of 12 decide your case beyond a reasonable doubt. We allow that there's confrontation, and he would have certainly been able to have his lawyers cross-examine the victims, cross-examine the investigators, and whatnot. But it's a little bit different level of proof when all you're trying to decide is whether or not a person keeps their job or not. That's a lot different than whether they keep their freedom.
Well, and the lawyer for women who've testified with the House Ethics Committee, this is what he's been saying. He's been out publicly speaking on this since the nomination.
The testimony before the House was yes, that Representative Gates paid my client, both of my clients, for sexual favors throughout the summer of 2017 all the way to the beginning of 2019.
And how did he pay them?
Those were primarily through Venmo and PayPal payments. There was one payment through Representative Gates' adopted son through his PayPal.
Nestor,
That's
the
right.
adopted son. Payments would come there too.
There was only one payment that it was testified to.
Can I just say, if you're paying for sex, don't do it with Venmo or PayPal. Use cash. I mean, that's a terrible legal advice, and I'm not giving legal advice, but don't leave a trail. I mean, how dumb can you be? But maybe he can say,
but how do you prove
I was
it was
helping
for
them
that,
with their
right?
tuition. I was helping them get some school supplies or whatever he was doing. But I mean, it makes the trail pretty clear. And Gates isn't the sharpest tool in the shed. I mean, we know that going in. He was never really a competent lawyer. Should never have been nominated for this position. But I think he was a person that Trump knew was going to do his bidding. Knew that he could have Gates look into anything Trump thought was important. But I don't think Gates is going to get approved.
What does this do? I mean, this is the only, at this point, nominee to fall and remove himself from the running. So what does this look like in terms of President-elect Donald Trump and him really leaning into the Gates nomination?
I think a lot of people felt, Debbie, that Gates was a throwaway nomination anyway, that Trump could put up 10 candidates, all of whom are sort of weird, but one is really, really weird, and hope that the House and the Senate focus on the one crazy and just pass the others. I really think that there was some logic to that with Trump, thinking, I'm going to put up a lot of people who there's concern with every one of them. But the Senate doesn't have time to go through this huge inquiry with every single nomination. They're going to laser focus on Gates. And I really think that there was some strategy there with Trump. It's now backfired probably that the Senate's investigation was going to laser focus on Gates, and they were just going to pass everybody else just to get to his case.
But there is probably some truth to there's only so many vetoes you have, right? So to speak, you can only go after somebody, unload the shotgun on both barrels on somebody so many times, because the next person that pops up, and we're starting to see, it seems like Pete Hegseth, Defense Secretary, is probably the next in line.
That's the problem, is that they've got other people now that they're going to start focusing on. And Trump's also got to appoint another Attorney General nominee.
Greg Skordas, thank you so much for jumping in here. But breaking news, developing news so far, that Matt Gaetz, representative out of Florida, has withdrawn his name as nominee for Attorney General in the Trump White House.
Dave and Dujanovic. A lot of us are filling our workdays with podcasts.
When you're working, go to KSLNewsRadio.com.
Click on Dave and Debbie's podcast and pick a topic and story length.
Podcast with Dave and Debbie. Then get to work with KSL News Radio.
The Advanced Window Products end-of-season sale is happening now. Your chance to get beautiful new state-of-the-art windows and save a bundle on your energy bill. Call Advanced Window Products now, and they'll give you $2,500 off on 10 windows or more. We're talking about custom frames and sealed double-pane glass, any style, any color, and they're created just for you right here in Utah. You need a doggy door inlaid into the glass? They do it all the time. In fact, Advanced Window Products has been building the highest quality windows here in Salt Lake City for 38 years. So there's no middleman, and you save money. They build the windows, they install the windows, and they guarantee them for life. So keep the heat inside with new windows. The energy companies will even give you a rebate. Advanced Window Products offers 0% financing, affordable monthly payments, and now $2,500 off on 10 windows or more. Call them right now, 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or go to advancedwindows.com.
This Friday, join KSL News Radio and Hale Center Theater as the movie show broadcasts live at the theater beginning at 11 a.m., 9900 South Monroe Street in Sandy. 2025 season tickets are now on sale and make great Christmas gifts. Gift cards are also available for any amount. The 2025 season includes Little Women, the Broadway musical, DreamWorks, The Prince of Egypt, Finding Neverland, 12 Angry Men, Footloose, the musical Comedy Murders of 1940, Sister Act, and Disney's Frozen. Playing now on the center stage is Disney's Beauty and the Beast. And on the Jewel Box stage, the 40th year of A Christmas Carol. Go to hct.org or call 801-984-9000.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm, A-rated by the Better Business Bureau. Their award-winning team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to end your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other IRS actions. Make sure you're getting the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima today for a free confidential consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Join the KSL Real Estate Show at a special time this Saturday.
Listen at 10 a.m. before the BYU pregame.
Hear the latest about cutting-edge closets.
That's this Saturday morning at 10.
Are you suffering from constant fatigue, joint pain, or digestive issues? Do you have brain fog, anxiety, or depression? Have you seen multiple doctors and still don't have any answers? Have you been told over and over your blood tests are normal, but you're just not feeling well? Transformative Medicine uses specialized testing to find the root cause of the problem and then cutting-edge therapies to treat it. Call Transformative Medicine today at Talk2Doc. That's Talk, the number 2, DOC, and receive a free consultation. Finally, get to the root of the problem and have the answers you've been waiting for. Don't wait to get your life back. The first 25 people to call Transformative Medicine at Talk2Doc will receive a consultation absolutely free. That's Talk, the number 2, DOC. Transformative Medicine can help you feel your best. Don't wait. Call Talk2Doc right now. That's Talk, the number 2, DOC.
I'm Dave Cawley, investigative journalist and host of the podcast Cold. Don't miss Cold's new Season 3, where I look into the unsolved disappearance of Cherie Warren, a woman last seen leaving her job at a Salt Lake City office in 1985. Police cast suspicion on Cherie's estranged husband and boyfriend, but never made any arrests or recovered Cherie's remains. Find Cold Season 3, The Search for Cherie, anywhere you get your podcasts.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, a fender bender turned into a police chase overnight in Salt Lake City. Second, staffers for President-elect Trump warning members of Congress they could face political consequences if they don't support his cabinet nominations. Third, some members of the legislature want to see Rocky Mountain Power split off from its parent company, Pacific Corp. 50 degrees, partly cloudy in Salt Lake City. Back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Dave and I talking so much about the cost of college and the tuition and fees and parking passes that when this legislative audit was released, I went, whoop, I'm going to read the whole thing, all 58 pages of it. And here's the page that stood out to me the most. It's on page 10, Dave. It's a graph. And it says some bachelor's degree, according to what the legislative auditor found when they looked at the return on investment, some bachelor's degree program graduates earn on average less than 150% of the poverty line for a family of 5 years after graduating. Let me repeat that. Some bachelor degree programs and their graduates earn on average less than 150% of the poverty line for a family of 4 5 years after graduating.
I love this story, Debbie. I think it's a crucial conversation to have because we have not done a good job of holding degrees accountable. I made this comparison earlier in the show. If you go to get a hamburger, a fast food hamburger, what do they have right next to the hamburger? How many calories are on the hamburger, right? Oh, if I'm going to eat this, I'm going to get this many calories. We should have something similar up at colleges when our 18 and 19-year-old kids are trying to pick what job they're going to go into. I should be able to say, oh, if I'm going to become a mechanical engineer, or if I'm going to get my degree as a petroleum engineer, this is what on average they make. This is what the placement is. This is your return on investment. If you're a British studies degree graduate, then this is what you can expect. We're doing a terrible job right now letting our kids know at a very early age what you can expect your return on investment to be, and that's why I think this legislative audit is absolutely crucial.
Cade Minchie is the Legislative Auditor General. Good morning.
Good morning.
I read your audit. Do I get an A++ for reading all 58 pages? I think it was 58 pages.
When you said that, it really warmed my heart.
I knew it would, and it is the truth. I did that. Hey, but this graph on page 10, let's just start there. It really stood out to me talking about graduates years later trying to raise a family at a pay that's 150% below the poverty line. But what I didn't necessarily see in the audit is did you look at certain programs that financially were just not giving these college graduates in that program a great return on investment? And if so, which programs?
Yeah, thanks for that question. We did not look at specific programs, meaning we didn't audit specific programs. What we were looking at in this audit is trying to give tools at every level of the higher education system to get to where we can manage this in the best way possible and help students going into higher education. What we hear and what the research shows is, this isn't going to surprise you, but students going to colleges, they do it for employment outcomes. They're doing it for jobs. They're doing it to employ to improve their opportunities to get jobs. And so that's where we looked at kind of a holistic level. What can the system do? What can institutional presence do? And then, we do like the idea of giving students the best information as well so they can improve their outcomes. But I will say this, we did look at some of the programs. I mean, just as we looked at it from holistically, you can see there on page 10 of the report, figure 1.1, we don't list the programs there because we weren't in this audit trying to highlight any specific program, but to say there are clearly programs out there that aren't giving the return on investment.
So I get you're not trying to hang out any one degree out there, but I guess I do want the details. I'm looking for a little bit more detail. How do we know, or was there any kind of a description of how we can tell our kids, hey, this is how you look into what the return on investment is on a degree? Because I'm afraid too often we say, oh, you go get a degree. It really doesn't matter what you get your degree in, or doesn't matter what you get your degree in.
Yeah. Well, let me give you one example. And this is an interesting example. It's a psychology degree. A psychology degree on its own, as we looked at the research, if you just do a 4-year degree or bachelor's degree in psychology, there actually isn't that many jobs there. If you go on and get advanced degrees, it starts opening up into different levels of employment outcomes. And so, to your point, I think it's a great point. As students go in, they need to know if you're going into a degree, and I'm just using psychology as an example, you're not going to be able to stop at 4 years of your bachelor's degree. You need to go on and get additional levels of education to really make yourself employable. Yeah. And so having that information to students as they make those decisions, I agree, is completely critical. There's other degrees, too, that we saw, some in language programs. There's a lot of different degrees with language programs. Some of those translate into jobs, teaching those languages in high school, other places. But in a lot of cases, there just weren't a lot of jobs in those fields. And so there are some examples there. But again, like we were saying, we weren't really trying to hang out a degree in this audit. We were trying to help policymakers, both from the legislative side and also from the institutional side, to really help move this along. So there's kind of 3 factors as you look at this: cost, employment outcomes, and graduation rates. As all of those come together, we think that's where the best outcomes can come from our students.
Cade Minchie is the Legislative Auditor General here in the state of Utah, and he's talking to us right now about a recent audit that was released about return on investment in terms of college degrees here in the state. I know this audit is just layered with lots of great information that I would love to talk about. And I know there's a lot more to it than just this, but we just decided to focus on this one aspect today. And I say words like, 150% below the poverty level, or 150% of poverty, the poverty line. Cade, what is the dollar equivalent of 150% of the poverty line if, somebody gets a degree that only pays them that much, even many years after graduation?
It's down to, it's about 30,000 is the poverty line. And then 150%, as you asked, that's going to be close to about 45,000 or so. I don't have that exact number in front of me.
But you give us a good idea of what that looks like, and it's not a lot of money to try to support a family of 4.
Right. That's right.
When we're looking at some of the details of this report, I thought it was interesting you brought up some of the relaxed degree standards. What we have seen across the country, and even here in Utah, I know Governor Cox has even taken away the requirement of bachelor degrees in some of the government offices right now. What did you learn about the relaxed degree standards?
Yeah, great question. It's insightful there. We saw some of that same thing as we talked to employers. And, it varies on who you talk to. for sure, but there are more and more employers that want students to have, the skills necessary for them to jump right into the workforce. And we have this whole technical college system in the state as well. And I know that there's more ideas being pushed towards connecting that with the degree-granting institutions and these technical schools to make sure that we're getting those skills necessary that employers are looking for.
Cade Minchie, thank you for joining us, Legislative Auditor General. And Debbie, I thought this was fascinating. I thought it was an important conversation to have, and we appreciate you taking the time. Cade Minchie.
It's eye-opening. And straight ahead, we're going to keep on keeping on in this conversation. In just about 5 minutes, House Speaker Mike Schultz calling the show to talk to us about what lawmakers plan to do about this.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 11 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top story this hour. We have breaking news. Former Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz is withdrawing his name from consideration for Attorney General. In a post on X, he said, while the momentum was strong, it's clear my confirmation was unfairly becoming a distraction to the critical work of the Trump-Vance transition. Gaetz says he remains fully committed to President-elect Donald Trump and was honored to be nominated. Utah lawmakers are reacting to a county clerk who researched the method that some lawmakers used to cast their ballots in the past election. Here's State Senator Daniel Thatcher.
Elections and voting are kind of a big deal to me. I would argue that without getting our elections right, nothing else we do matters.
Utah County Clerk Aaron Davidson is defending his decision, told David Dujanovic this morning he never looked at who anybody voted for, just what method they used, which he says is public information. Salt Lake City police have arrested a 16-year-old who they say shot another teen in the parking lot at West High School earlier this month. Police say they didn't learn about the shooting until the victim showed up at the hospital. The 16-year-old is accused of felony discharge of a firearm and aggravated assault. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average is still rising, 533 points up, 1.2% now. The NASDAQ is up, but just barely this morning. And our KSL weather, we've got mostly cloudy skies right now, but we have a storm moving in by Sunday. That's next. KSL News Time, 11:01.
Here's a way to get breaking news updates anywhere you go.
At the store or in a work meeting, you can get breaking news on your phone.
You can quickly read it, swipe, or click for more. It's super discreet, super fast.
That's the app for KSL News Radio.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Jeff Kaplan. I'm energized by breaking news. First of all, because it's right now, and second of all, because in many cases the audience needs to know. There's no more important service that we can provide, and I find it critically important to get more details to the audience as quickly as possible. There's nothing more energizing than that for me. Not at all. The most important thing we do is breaking news. I am gratified that so many people listen to me every afternoon on KSL, but what they don't know is that there are so many people behind the scenes making it happen, checking on the traffic, answering the phones, making the calls, talking to the newsmakers. They're out in the street, into the field to get the raw information, and then putting it all together so that I can sit in front of a microphone and be a source of information every afternoon. But there are so many people who make it happen. That's what you don't know.
Ride Home with Jeff Kaplan, weekdays 3 to 7 on KSL News Radio.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Here's Heather Kelly.
Still no delays anywhere across the Wasatch Front, at least on the major freeways. I-15, the east and west side belt route running quite nicely, and I-80 through Parley's Canyon doesn't have any slowdowns even over the summit. You will run into quite a few orange barrels out, though, and that could slow you down from time to time, especially on Bangalore Highway and Legacy Parkway. Get 70% savings before holidays on a beautifully crafted piece of floor art from Foothill Rug Gallery. Direct importers feature dozens of styles, colors, and designs for any decor. Foothill Rug Gallery. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
It'll be dry with mild fall temperatures today and tomorrow. Then clouds move in on Saturday. Rain and snow likely on Sunday. It's mostly cloudy right now and 48 degrees. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com for Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories. On KSL News Radio, High on the Hill 2024. Special coverage with Dave and Dujanovic.
Oh, Dave and I just got a hefty dose, and if you were listening, you did too, about college degrees in Utah and return on investment. Moments ago, we spoke with the Legislative Auditor General up here on Capitol Hill. His name's Cade Minchie, because he released a almost 60-page audit that talks about, in some regard, I mean, this audit's huge, but this portion of it is what stood out to me. The return on investment for some degree programs at colleges and universities here in Utah is so low, even years after graduation. Some graduates who earn their degrees and probably paid quite a pretty penny for tuition, Dave, are earning between maybe $30,000 and $45,000 a year.
And not only is that just a shocking number, and I think an important number to look at, you also have to take into account the opportunity cost. If you're off at school for 4, 5, 6 years, you're not in the workforce. You're not getting promotions. You're not getting real-life experience. You're just getting your degree. So when you're looking at return on investment, it can't be $45,000. I thought you picked out of that 60-page report the single most important element right there, Debbie, that some degrees, the return on investment is $45,000 a year. That is absolutely crucial.
It's not to say they aren't worth the paper they're printed on, but because when you achieve a degree, it can mean a lot more than just a financial, windfall. However, it would be wholly unaffordable to live on $45,000 a year and raise a family of 4. And that's what I thought was a really important highlight of this legislative audit. And Utah House Speaker Mike Schultz, thanks for rejoining the show. Appreciate you getting you on again. What was your reaction to that? I just thought that was a real eye-opener, and it's concerning.
Yeah, David, Debbie, again, thank you for having me back. It really is an honor for me to be on your show and speak with you and your listeners. And I want to thank you for having Cade, our Director Minchie, on the show. They are amazing. The legislative auditors are very professional. They're very thorough. They work with the agencies to try to get good information and put together a good report. And they also give good solutions on how we can fix things as well, and some of the things that they find. But Debbie, you're spot on some of the concerns that we've had around higher ed, and these are things that we've been hearing from students, from parents, from employers, and from all other leaders in the community, is some of the concerns around higher ed. And so to actually have the data behind it now in an audit will help us make better decisions moving forward. And that's what I'm most excited about, the what came from the audit.
As I'm looking through some of this audit, it's talking about the projected declines that are going to come up in the next 4 years or so. It just falls off a cliff right now of projections of how many people are actually going to go to college. What are you looking at as far as solutions to either stem that, or is that something you endorse and say, hey, listen, maybe you don't need to go to college?
No, I think no, absolutely not. I think there's some students that don't need to go to college. There's some students that do, and options are best. Higher ed and universities and college are very crucial for our economy, for an educated workforce, for an educated society. We have to have it. It's how you do it. And Debbie, you talked about this right up front. Let me come back to that for just a minute. And that's the return on investment. Look, on some of these programs, we have every university in the state offering all of these programs, okay? And these are important programs. They may not have a high return on investment. They're important. But do we need every university in the state offering these programs? I don't think so. I think we can have one in the north, one in the south, so that the options are there for the students. But think of the savings that can be had by cutting some of those programs and reallocating it into other programs where we're not meeting the needs of our employers and society and in some of the high demand areas, but yet we're still offering these programs that may not have as high a return on investment. But I'm a firm believer in good information drives good decisions. And so educating those kids or those students before they go into these programs about what the outcomes are likely to be, I think is also another important role in that. And then also trying to move these students through the programs faster, cutting down a little bit on the generals and some of the other things. We're working together really collaboratively with higher ed overall right now, and there is some room to do that. It'll move the students through faster. It'll move them through at a lower cost, which is so important right now. The cost of higher ed has gotten out of control. We're fortunate here in Utah. It hasn't grown as much in Utah as it has in other parts of the country, but it's still risen too fast. We need to slow that, and this doing these things, providing efficiencies inside of higher ed, reducing some of the requirements, it reduces the cost, and that's a key component to it. And this is, no, I'm not okay looking at the enrollment cliff coming up. If we do this right, look, no one else in the nation is looking at it the way we're looking at it. If we do this right, I truly believe that we can stem that cliff from happening as bad, because we will have other students and kids from across the nation looking to come into Utah or be educated in Utah. And that's a good thing, because those students pay double what our in-state students pay, which helps lower the cost for our citizens, and that's what's important. So I think we have a lot of opportunity to get ahead of this and work towards good solutions.
We're speaking with Utah Speaker of the House, Mike Schultz, right now, and I was joking with Debbie. I said, you go to McDonald's and you will see right there, if you get a cheeseburger, this is how many calories you're going to consume. But we don't have that up at the University of whatever, right? I mean, it would be great to say, hey, if I'm going to be a petroleum engineer, it's going to be six figures all over the place. But if you're going to be a British studies, then maybe lower your expectations. I think that's part of the problem. As my kids are going into college right now, they don't really know what the data is in the degrees they're going into.
Yeah, that's a great way to simplify it, Dave. You're spot on. And providing that information, look, I'm a firm believer, good information drives good outcomes. And, it always shouldn't be about what is the return on investment, right? We need some of these history professors and some of these things. But having kids and students make those decisions up front, I think we'll get a better outcome overall, and I think that's the goal.
House Speaker Mike Schultz, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. Thanks for your time. And Debbie, I was so excited when you're like, I went through the entire thing. I read all 60 pages of it, and this is the one that stood out to me. I loved what you found is they saw that there were degrees out there that were making 150%
of the poverty
of the
line.
poverty line. That's 40.
Yeah, sorry, $45,000. $45,000. I didn't mean to step on you, Dave. But yeah, $45,000 is look. And I am also like, I understand that college isn't always about getting that degree. It can be about a lot more. And my kids have even told me that. They went to college and they said, like my son played baseball in college. He's like, I just love that experience. I love the experience. I love getting to know people. He went outside of Utah, so he had an experience outside, born and raised here. So it is about a lot more than that. It's also exploring different classes, and maybe even different electives and finding a hobby that you love. But knowledge is power when making lifelong decisions. And if you go into a lifelong decision of, I want to do this for a living, but you have no knowledge of the potential return on investment, what you're going to cap out at when you go into that career, or how little money you're going to make, you've already spent $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 earning that degree. Yeah, it doesn't make sense for us to do it the way we've done it for decades and decades. Give the kids that information so they can make a better solution or a better decision. Right. Thanks, based on what fits their future needs.
Yeah, and I absolutely think colleges should basically revolve around that question of ROI. You can learn without going to college. There are endless resources. If you're interested in something, you can become an expert on just about anything with the resources that are out there. A college is there for a job, quite honestly. If you want to have the college experience, you can go live in a college town and not go to college and have the college experience. I absolutely think colleges and universities in this state have to take more seriously your ROI. You've got to lay it out to the kids. You've got to let them know this is what you can expect. And you can't just paint a rosy picture and say, oh, everyone's going to be a millionaire if you get this degree. You have to show me real-world data of what jobs I'm getting with this degree. Show me your work. Prove it to me so I can make the best decision possible.
President-elect Donald Trump issuing a statement on his Truth Social platform just moments ago about Matt Gaetz withdrawing his name for the future Attorney General of the United States. This happened during our show. We broke this development live, and straight ahead, we're going to talk to KSL Inside Sources host Adam Gardner in just a moment. He's a political insider. He'll be able to weigh in on what this means going forward for Trump's nominations.
Dave and Dujanovic.
You know KSL is the only news radio for your car, right?
The only news radio for your smart speaker.
Come here in the morning. It's the latest news and traffic. In the afternoon, news and updated weather.
We have you covered at KSL News Radio.
Let's feed some kids, folks. It's a great way, a great program here with Macy's Harvest of Hope. It's a food drive that's going to support children that are struggling with food insecurity. In Utah, we have about 1 in 11 individuals that are struggling on some level with food insecurity, and all donations from Macy's Harvest of Hope are going to be donated to local food banks to serve the children in our communities. They want to raise $200,000 for the Harvest of Hope food drive. You can purchase, you can go into a store at Macy's and purchase an icon in the store, donate a dollar amount that you choose. You can purchase a bag, either online or in the store, for $5. And that represents the food that these food banks are going to need most. Peanut butter, mac and cheese, some of those box meals that are so easy and so filling. Participating in Harvest of Hope is easy. You can make that donation at any Macy's that you go to, or you can check them out online. Just go to Macy's.com/online. That's Macy's.com/online.
BYU season comes down to sudden death. Now it's a one-game season. Beat Arizona State for a path to the championship game.
Moa running hard, 15 and 12-yard line for Sione Moa.
This Saturday, it's do or die. BYU, Arizona State. KSL Special Extended Pregame starts Saturday at 11, and kickoff is at 1:30 on Utah's legacy home of the Cougars, KSL News Radio.
If you're trying to decide which gutter protection to put on your home, don't just ask how they'll handle leaves. Ask how they'll handle ice. Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors, and that's right, ice. See, plenty of gutter guards are good at keeping out leaves, but most are made with flimsy materials that can bend, buckle, and break under the weight of too much ice. Kind of a big problem in an icy state like Utah, right? At RGS Exteriors, our exclusive gutter protection systems are built Utah tough. They're made with premium strength materials that hold up to 1,200 pounds of ice per square foot. Simply put, they're not going to budge. Our gutter guards are also certified to handle hurricane-level winds and rain. Mother Nature can't damage them. Guaranteed. Utah Tough Products. That's the RGS way. For a free estimate, call 801-280-3110 or visit rgsexteriors.com. That's rgsexteriors.com or 801-280-3110.
Transform your old, outdated kitchen with Half Price Granite. For a limited time, Half Price Granite is offering special pricing starting at $25 per square foot installed. That's lower than most big box stores. These prices are some of the lowest around. Granite, quartz, marble, and quartzite, all starting at $25 per square foot installed. Call 801-486-1700 or visit halfpricegranite.com. Half Price Granite, affordable luxury.
Hearing about online threats every day can be stressful. McAfee Total Protection is here to help you live a worry-free life online. What does worry-free mean? You won't have to wonder if that text message is a scam, if new threats will pop up on your PC, or if you're safe from identity theft. Visit McAfee.com/online protection today to get up to 79% off award-winning online protection. Act fast. This Black Friday Cyber Monday deal won't last. Offer ends 12/4/24. That's McAfee.com/online protection. Cancel anytime. Terms apply.
Any Hour Services can help you make sure your furnace keeps you warm this winter. Whether you need a tune-up, a repair, or a second opinion about replacing it, call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
Are you suffering from constant fatigue, joint pain, or digestive issues? Do you have brain fog, anxiety, or depression? Have you seen multiple doctors and still don't have any answers? Have you been told over and over your blood tests are normal, but you're just not feeling well? Transformative Medicine uses specialized testing to find the root cause of the problem and then cutting-edge therapies to treat it. Call Transformative Medicine today at Talk2Doc. That's Talk, the number 2, DOC, and receive a free consultation. Finally, get to the root of the problem and have the answers you've been waiting for. Don't wait to get your life back. The first 25 people to call Transformative Medicine at Talk2Doc will receive a consultation absolutely free. That's Talk, the number 2, DOC. Transformative Medicine can help you feel your best. Don't wait. Call Talk2Doc right now. That's Talk, the number 2, DOC.
With the three things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, former Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz has withdrawn his nomination to become Attorney General in the new Trump administration. Second, the Utah County Clerk is defending his decision to look at whether some legislators voted by mail. An interim committee is looking at whether that should be illegal. And third, police have made an arrest in a shooting at West High School weeks after it happened. 48 degrees, mostly cloudy in Salt Lake City. And back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
President-elect Donald Trump issuing a statement not long ago on his Truth Social platform about Matt Gaetz withdrawing his name from nomination for United States Attorney General. That happened during our show. We broke it live. Saying, I greatly appreciate the recent efforts of Matt Gaetz in seeking approval to be the Attorney General. He was doing very well, but at the same time did not want to be a distraction for the administration, for which he has much respect. And then he says, Matt has a wonderful future, and I look forward to watching all of the great things he will do. So Matt Gaetz, former member of the House of Representatives, he resigned not very long after President-elect Donald Trump put his name in to be the future U.S. Attorney General. The trouble for Matt Gaetz is that he had to get the approval and the confirmation of the Senate. And support for that nomination started to dissipate rather quickly, mainly based on this House ethics report that has yet to be released.
Yeah, and Matt Gaetz was the name. There's been a lot of nominations from the Trump team that's led to some, debate, but nothing compared. When Matt Gaetz was announced, it was, number one, a huge surprise. I don't think anyone saw that coming. So when he was put forward, then all of a sudden, it doesn't matter who else was nominated. It was all focused on Gaetz.
Adam Gardner, one of our hosts for Inside Sources, which, every day from 1 to 3 right here on KSL News Radio. What was your reaction when you heard that Gaetz had tweeted out earlier this morning that he was withdrawing his name?
Well, Debbie, it's my birthday today, and I blew out a singular candle this morning, hoping and wishing that Matt Gaetz would not be our Attorney General, and my wish came true, and I was very happy about that. I thought this was a bad nomination. I thought President Trump, in his mandate and his new administration, deserved better. I think he will get better. When he was nominated, to be honest with you, did not even know that he was an attorney, that Matt Gaetz was an attorney. And so I thought this was a strange nomination from the very beginning. And then the second he resigned from the House, I thought this was even more strange. And then we find out once he resigned from the House of Representatives would no longer be releasing their ethics investigation on him because they no longer have jurisdiction over an investigation of someone who is outside their membership. The Senate was arguing that they wanted to have access to that investigation. The House said no. And because of that, my inside sources are telling me that at least 20 senators, Republican senators, were going to be a no on Matt Gaetz' nomination, on his confirmation. That's a significant number. There's no way that you can overcome that unless you make this investigation public. And he didn't want to because he doesn't like what that investigation has to say. Great news for the Trump administration.
There were other opportunities to kind of ramrod this kind of stuff through, it sounds like, whether it was a recess appointment or an interim appointment that had been bandied about by Trump. So your thoughts on Gaetz kind of making it easy for President Trump that he wouldn't have to go down one of those paths?
I thought it was really good for Matt Gaetz to withdraw. He saw the writing on the wall. He had private meetings with senators the last few days. Even Vice President J.D. Vance was taking him around, and he could not overcome this insurmountable hill. And there's two parts to this recess appointment thing. One, they're not going to be in recess for a little while. They have business to conduct and confirmations to conduct, so they were going to be in business, in session for a while. President Trump would have had to use his executive constitutional authority to actually recess the Senate, which has never been done before. Even though he has that power, and every president has, that has never been done before. Now, to do that and then appoint Matt Gaetz would be, in my opinion, a violation of the recess appointments clause. And I would guarantee that the Democratic minority in either one of the houses, probably the Senate, would sue over that, and I think that they would win. So it was really smart of Matt Gaetz. He can now go away looking like he was nominated. He's super close to the Trump administration, but at the same time, he won't have those ethics investigations released hanging over his head.
Well, and he would have, if he would have made it through the confirmation process, Adam, as you know, he would have been the top prosecutor in the United States. But he was having a hard time shaking these allegations that have been made now public, or more public than they had been made in the past. They've got the attorney for two women involved in being asked questions by the House Ethics Committee about allegations that involved Matt Gaetz. Let me play this interview clip from CNN. It's one of the attorneys for these women.
The testimony before the House was yes, that Representative Gaetz paid my client, both of my clients, for sexual favors throughout the summer of 2017 all the way to the beginning of 2019.
And how did he pay them?
Those were primarily through Venmo and PayPal payments. There was one payment through Representative Gaetz.
Now, these allegations have also been investigated previously by the Department of Justice. They did not pursue any legal action. However, he was still, facing this House ethics review and investigation. that report has not been released. But I just wonder if he saw the writing on the wall that these allegations would just continue to follow him around.
Yeah, I think you're right, Debbie. And I would kind of use the precedent of George Santos, the Republican congressman from New York, that there was a House investigation done on him. And before he was found guilty of anything in a court of law, the House made the decision to expel him from their body. And because that just happened a few months ago, the Matt Gaetz allegations of statutory rape, of sex trafficking, of taking underage victims outside of the country or outside of the state to perform sexual acts, and then paying those young women and these adult women for prostitution, all alleged. These are much worse than what George Santos has been accused of. And so, yes, I think he did see the writing on the wall that I can't get confirmed, and I don't want these allegations to come out publicly, all the details. So the best thing that I can do is to walk away. I think this is going to be a win for everybody, even the Trump administration.
Adam, we're crazy out of time, but I got to ask this. He said that he resigned from the House effective immediately, but I did see someone hypothesize that, well, that's his current term that he resigned from. Could he return in 2025?
Theoretically, I think yes.
Okay.
We'll continue to follow that. Adam Gardner, thank you so much.
And I do want to emphasize that Gaetz has denied these allegations, and also the Department of Justice, as we've been stating, did not file or pursue any criminal charges against Matt Gaetz. Although it's been reported that they did look into these allegations. So, however, what I wonder, Dave, is if he does return to the House, if that is the case. Would that ethics investigation then continue?
Yeah, that's a great question. And do we think that ethics report is not going to get leaked out? I think that ethics report is getting leaked out 100%.
It's 11:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomis. KSL's top story this hour: people in a South Jordan neighborhood asking questions about their safety now that the NTSB has released a report saying a gas leak under the street was the likely cause of a deadly home explosion earlier this month. The gas had traveled underground about 150 feet to the house that blew up. Firefighters say the chemical added to gas to give it its characteristic smell can dissipate when it travels underground. Our top national story this hour from ABC News: former Congressman Matt Gaetz has withdrawn his name from consideration to be Attorney General in the upcoming Trump administration. ABC's Jay O'Brien reports Gaetz' nomination had been overshadowed by a House Ethics Committee investigation into allegations of sex trafficking and drug use.
He just didn't have what he needed out of Senate Republicans to get this over the goal line, and Matt Gaetz acknowledges it. But the reality here is, if Donald Trump wanted to put Matt Gaetz through the traditional Senate confirmation process, which would mean a hearing before the Senate Judiciary Committee and a vote on the Senate floor, he would need the support of some moderate Republican senators who had expressed, a number of them, skepticism.
And your money at this moment: the Dow Jones average strongly up right now, 603 points on the day, 1.3%. The NASDAQ is up right now, 49 points. And our KSL weather: we've got some clouds around, and it's a little bit warmer than it'll be next week. That's coming up. KSL News Time, 11:32.
News doesn't just mean information or dates.
It's the story of our local history being told in real time.
Be a part of the story. This is Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon.
We hope to be a part of your story. We have you covered on KSL News Radio.
One of the things I love about Mountain Home Services, and I can speak from experience, is just the quality of their work. They installed the furnace of mine years ago. They've done the service over the years, and it's just hummed along beautifully. I've loved it.
We've been really excited that Master Electrical has joined forces with Mountain Home Services, because now, of course, that means they can do what they did in your home. You know, work on your HVAC, your heating and air, your plumbing, and those EV chargers you need to have installed. And then we got word not long ago that they're adding something else to the mix.
Fireplaces. That's right. What a perfect time to install a fireplace if you want to cozy up your home. a little ambiance, a little warmth in a room. My family has loved, we are filled with fireplaces in my family. Everyone's got a fireplace. So if you're looking at one, you want to have one installed, you want to pick just the right one, but you want it installed correctly with all the expertise of Mountain Home Services, go ahead and reach out to them. Their website, mountainhomeutah.com, is a great way to touch base with them. mountainhomeutah.com.
Or you can give them a call, 801-543-2222. Again, 801-543-2222.
It's official. KSL Sports is your official radio home of the Utah Hockey Club. When the puck hits the ice this fall, you'll hear every goal, every check, and every tension-filled moment on the KSL Sports Zone. Plus, let your voice be heard on the Utah Hockey Club Fan Forum on KSLSports.com. Your exclusive home of the NHL and the Utah Hockey Club in Utah is KSL Sports and 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Febreze. So my home is also my office, and before I can focus, every room's gotta be clean. That means tidying up, then spraying my Febreze Air Mist. Ooh, that's fresh. Febreze Air Mist scents are all high quality. They fight any weird funk, and they give my air an instant boost of freshness. So not only does my home smell good, I feel good too. After I Febreze, it's time to start my day.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
Here's another great reason to use the United States Postal Service this season. Your boxes are wrapped and the gifts are in. Our employees are ready. Let the holiday ride begin. Let's start with the price. It's easy to manage when you ship with the reliable USPS Ground Advantage. In just a few days, it's sure to arrive. We're working nonstop to keep the spirit alive. USPS Ground Advantage, the affordable and reliable shipping solution for the holidays. Visit USPS.com/advantage.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. And here's Ricky Meese.
Looking at a good drive on all the Valley freeways, including I-15 north and southbound between Willard Bay and Utah Lake. No accidents or delays. Our main secondaries are also looking good at this time. This holiday season, Murdoch Hyundai is grateful for you. Celebrate during the Murdoch Hyundai Season of Giving sales event. Receive 0% for 4 years on the Elantra, Sonata, Tucson, or Santa Fe. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
It'll be dry with mild fall temperatures today and tomorrow. Clouds move in on Saturday. Rain and snow are likely on Sunday. And right now we're at 48 degrees. It's partly cloudy. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com for Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
We're continuing to follow the developing story that we've been following all morning long, and that is Attorney General nominee Matt Gaetz withdrawing his name from consideration, putting out a tweet announcing that not long ago. Dave, you were reading the tweet live on the air. Do you still have that pulled up?
Yeah, I do. He said, I had an excellent meeting with the senators yesterday because they were trying to rally support. This is my little aside. He was with Vice President-elect J.D. Vance, and they were going through and meeting with senators, trying to get a little bit of a straw poll, see what kind of support that he had. And he said, I had excellent meetings with senators yesterday, incredible support, and while the momentum is strong, it is clear that my confirmation was unfairly becoming a distraction to the critical work of Trump-Vance. There is no time to waste on a needlessly protracted Washington scuffle, thus I'll be withdrawing my name from consideration to serve as Attorney General.
There's lots to talk about with this, and that is, can Gaetz either withdraw his resignation from the House, or if he was reelected to Congress, could he step back in January and begin serving in the 119th Congress? I mean, I may be way
one
off
of the
base.
Congress, the next Congress, we'll call
Thank
that.
you for that clarification. President-elect Donald Trump issuing a statement on Truth Social not long ago as well, saying he greatly appreciates the efforts of Matt Gaetz, seeking approval to be Attorney General. He was doing very well, but at the same time did not want to be a distraction for the administration, for which he has much respect. And then he goes on to say that he believes Matt Gaetz has a wonderful future.
It will be very interesting to see what that wonderful future looks like. Is that a future in politics? We will see, and we'll dive into that a little bit more about whether or not Matt Gaetz is done in the House. He resigned. We'll see if he can be re-signed, see if he can be reappointed in this next election.
And also what it means for that House ethics report that we've been talking so much about. It has not been released. We don't know if there is a timeline for a release, if it will not be released going forward. But that did seem to be the holdup as to what could potentially be in that House ethics report. And at this point, though, it has not been released.
We'll continue to follow this story, but let's shift gears a little bit right now. For a very long time, Debbie, you know, I worked in the sports department here at KSL TV, and it was fantastic. This was my favorite time of the year because this is when the high school football playoffs were going on.
Okay.
And right now we've got some great matchups going on. Lone Peak against Corner Canyon starts at 2:30. This is 6A playoffs. You got the 5A, 4A playoffs going throughout the day. So we thought we'd reach out to Canyon School District Superintendent Dr. Rick Robbins. And Dr. Robbins, one of the reasons that you're so perfect for this conversation is you were quite the storied athlete yourself.
Oh, nice.
You're in the Southern Utah Hall of Fame, a 4-year starter in football.
At SUU?
Yes.
Oh, nice. That's
the
awesome.
good old days.
Man, you're the good old days. You're digging for some history there.
Well,
thank you.
It's not just that you were on the team; you were a pretty good ball player. This is back when I was in high school. You were playing just above, and I remember you very well. So, okay, give us a little bit of an idea, and congratulations, you've got some teams doing very well right now in the playoffs. But what is the importance of high school sports? Because we spend a lot of time, money, effort, focus on high school sports. What role do you see high school sports in as superintendent?
Yeah, it's just so much bigger than the game. I mean, it really is about being part of something bigger than yourself and teaching kids hard work and leadership and sacrifice and respect and empathy, inclusivity. I mean, all those things that really are durable skills that I think as parents and as a community that we want. And so I was very fortunate. I had great mentors and people that taught me those skills. And I see the same in our high school sports today. Awesome.
Do we do enough, or do we do too much? How do you find that perfect balance? Because obviously, extracurricular activities can be very time consuming, and sometimes they can be very divisive.
Yeah, and I think that's always going to be the case because it's so subjective, right? So it's always kind of hard to pinpoint what's best and what's not. But it's not just sports. Like right now in all of our high schools, our fall musicals are going on. And so I attend those and I see our kids performing and just really chasing their dreams and their passion on the stage. And to me, that's just as important. It teaches those very same skills.
Well, I raised 3 kids. All of them played high school sports at Brighton High School. You're familiar with that, of course. That location is in the Canyon School District, and it meant a lot to us. It meant a lot to our family. They also, it was always awesome to have a house full of baseball or softball players stopping over, and you just, as a parent, you knew who they were hanging out with. You just knew, especially during the season, obviously, and where they were after school. And I always appreciated knowing that, and that they were part of a team.
Yeah, and those relationships are lifelong, right? I mean, it teaches our kids to really, build relationships that matter, and far beyond their high school years. You look back on that with fondness, and those are people that you talk to way beyond high school.
Dr. Robbins, if you could maybe talk about the fan experience. One of the things that I hear often is, hey, let's do rowdy right. What's the message you want to send out to kids? Because we can get fired up and excited about rivalries, but how do you do it without turning it into something you don't want it to be?
Yeah, and I think, right now in our country, we're pretty polarized that way. and it's unfortunate. I try to remind people all the time to just take a step back and have perspective. And the most important thing is that our kids have fun. You know, they enjoy their time out on the field. They enjoy each other. And I'm a big fan, like everybody else. My kids played sports. And sometimes I look back with a little bit of regret, you know, that I didn't enjoy it as a parent and as a fan.
Oh yeah.
Just the essence of the game, and why are we even out there? You know, it's not about our personal vendetta or our hate for another team or the officials or anything else. But when you really just take a step back and think about what's the true meaning of what we're trying to accomplish, it's for the kids to have that experience that they're going to remember.
It's great perspective. Thanks, Superintendent. Good luck to all the teams. This is Dave's favorite time of the year because we've got the high school football playoffs, and so we'll be keeping an eye on all of the action with the help of our sports team right here at KSL. You can check out all the action at KSLSports.com. And he reminds me of a time when I was so grateful for this lesson, but I was also so embarrassed for myself. You know, I used to sit behind the backstop. I would count pitches. I would, make sere the umpire were calling balls and strikes the right way because I'm the mom, right? My son was a pitcher.
Wrong. Wrong.
I remember this one play. Oh, and I think I didn't quite lose my mind, but it was close enough. Anyway, I was talking to my son after the game, and I said, I don't know if you heard me. He was like, everybody did, Mom.
Everyone heard you.
Everybody heard you, Mom. I was like, oh, you know where I need to take my chair next time? Way down the right field
Deep
line.
in left field.
Yeah, I put myself in mom timeout.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Dave and Debbie go out of their way to make sure you hear all sides of a story.
They're working the phones to get several viewpoints on for you.
Hi, it's Tim and Amanda. We get you the full story, too.
We have you covered on KSL News Radio.
The temperatures outside have dropped a bunch, and now my family and I are enjoying the benefits of our brand new windows from Advanced Window Products in a different way. During the summer, it was nice to be able to keep the cold air in. Now it's nice to see how much more efficiently we can keep warm air inside. We replaced 20 of our builder-grade windows with high-efficiency windows and a glass door to our backyard with a built-in pet door, and we have just been thrilled with the results. We're already saving on our energy bill. We're helping pay for the windows with the rebate available through Dominion Energy. Our price didn't include any middleman markups because they did the sales and the installation all in-house. My wife and I love that there's a lifetime warranty serviced by their local team, labor, glass, parts included. I promise they're going to treat you right, and you'll have an amazing experience from start to finish, just like I did. Right now is a great time to do it. Also, they're having an end-of-season sale. Save $2,500 on 10 windows or more. 801-850-9100 or advancedwindows.com.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
Are you really that different than the rest of us?
We are. As a fiduciary, we always focus on what's best for our clients.
What services do you offer besides investing?
We have a team of specialists in financial planning, estate planning, and more.
Your clients rely on you for all that?
Yes, we ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Okay, but you still sell commission-based products, right?
No, because we believe that's a conflict of interest. We prioritize service over sales goals.
So, then how do your fees work?
We have a simple and transparent fee that's a percentage of our clients' portfolios. So we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, we're more different than I thought.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at fisherinvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Get up to a 30% upfront bonus to use for your retirement income, or up to 12% per year to help grow your retirement income. Whether you're in retirement or will be retiring within 10 years, Trajan Wealth can offer some of the highest guarantees in the business. I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, and I know no one wants to work forever. We all need to retire someday, and I know you've worked hard for your money, so now is the time to guarantee it. Take advantage of up to a 30% upfront bonus bonus for your retirement income or up to 12% per year for retirement income. Don't woulda, shoulda, coulda. Get up to a 30% bonus just for opening an account or up to 12% per year for retirement income. Don't leave your retirement to chance. Retire the right way, the Trajan way with Trajan Wealth. Call Trajan today at 801-899-7600. That's 801-899-7600.
Annuity guarantees are based on the claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. DBA in most states says Trajan Wealth Insurance Solutions.
Is your home ready for the holidays? Before your guests arrive, go with the pros at Zerorez. Carpet, tile, upholstery, air ducts, Zerorez does it all. Don't trust just anybody. Zerorez has a 4.9 rating on Google. Beat the holiday rush and call the cleaning heroes today. Get 3 rooms of carpet cleaning starting at just $119. And take 20% off upholstery cleaning by calling 801-288-9376. Or book online anytime at Zerorez.com and mention the KSL special. Backward or forward, it's the right way to clean. Zerorez.
This is Derek Miller speaking on business. Minky Couture has grown from a heartfelt mission into a beloved brand of comfort and luxury with 6 Utah locations and a thriving online store. At its core, Minky Couture is all about comfort and community. Owner and founder Sandy Hendry joins us with more.
Minky Couture began with a desire to bring comfort to those in need. In 2009, when my daughter became ill and was hospitalized, I longed for a way to bring her comfort in her recovery. Unable to find the perfect blanket to bring her solace, I created one myself, giving rise to Minky Couture, best blanket ever. After 30 years as a teacher, I knew that I wanted Minky Couture to positively impact as many lives as possible. We employ mothers as seamstresses, allowing them to work from home, providing for their families, and strengthening our communities. Our Heart of Minky program is another way we give back, donating thousands of mini Minky blankets to NICUs across the country. These blankets bring warmth and comfort to premature babies and to their families during very difficult times. As Minky Couture, every blanket is made with the highest quality fabric, ensuring both softness and luxury for years to come.
Minky Couture is dedicated to making a difference, one blanket at a time, blending warmth, comfort, and community impact. Learn more at their website, minkycouture.com. I'm Derek Miller with the Salt Lake Chamber, speaking on business.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, former Congressman Matt Gaetz was facing an uncertain process for Senate confirmation as Defense Secretary. Now he's withdrawn his name from consideration. Second, some residents in South Jordan are worried about the safety of their own homes after learning about an underground gas leak that led to a fatal explosion. Third, Salt Lake City ready to shut down a road to bring its railroad crossing up to federal standards and end the need for trains to sound their horns as they pass. 48 degrees, partly cloudy in Salt Lake City. Back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Having strong, good mental health in the workplace, I think it's important, and so does our very own Maria Shilaos. She's the host of the Let's Get Moving podcast, and also, of course, you hear her voice every day right here on KSL News Radio starting at noon. She's a host of Utah's New News right here on KSL News Radio, and we're going to talk to her about mental health in the workplace.
This is a great conversation because I bet if you were to ask your parents about a mental health day, they would have no idea what you're talking about.
They would laugh at you.
They would laugh at you. Mental health day? Those things don't exist. But now things have changed. I think it's becoming more accepted, more understood that, you know, maybe your bad day is enough of a bad day to just take it off. What do you think about mental health days, or what have you found on this?
I think we all need mental health days, honestly. That would be my own personal opinion. But, you know, employees are really demanding now that there be better mental health care in the workplace because of the pandemic. So if we want to say the pandemic did anything good, it did bring a recognition and acceptance to the fact that we have mental health issues in our country. People were isolated and they demanded help with their mental health.
And for your podcast episode on this, did you speak to experts about it and look into how how we can do better.
Oh, of course.
Yes, I love it, Maria.
I
Tell
talked
us
to
more.
Betsy Schwartz. She's the director of the Center for Workplace Mental Health with the American Psychiatric Association, because they have developed a new program to really help employers and employees. It's called Notice, Talk, Act at Work. So you can look that up and find out some great resources as well. But part of the problem right now, what we've dealt with right now, post-pandemic, is such a divisive election season. And one thing I would like to play from the podcast is her talking about, how do we handle that in the workplace? What are we supposed to do when suddenly our coworker starts talking about something that maybe isn't the way we feel about the election? And here's what she had to say.
Well, I think that regardless of this time, because of the election or just any time, it's important for employees and managers and all people in a workplace to respect boundaries and to stay focused on the work. So if someone wants to talk politics, I think it's appropriate to just go back to work and really focus, say, I'd love to hear your ideas. Maybe we can find another time when we have the time to discuss that. But right now, I need to meet this deadline, or I need to focus on what I'm working on.
It's a nice way to get out of an awkward conversation. Oh, I
For
just
sure, right?
so loaded up with, I got to finish this project. Yeah. Now, what did you learn about how employees and employers that are addressing mental health issues in the workplace, are there signs that you should be looking for?
There are signs that you should be looking for, and the first part of their program is notice. So, but you have to think, it's not just somebody who comes into work one day and they're feeling a little down. We all have those days, right? It's a combination of factors. So the thing you're going to look for is mood, behavior, thinking, and appearance. Is it someone who usually comes in all dressed up and looks nice and snazzy, and then suddenly, day after day, they're coming in their sweats? Or they're not meeting deadlines where they always used to meet those deadlines? And so the first part is noticing that there's a problem, but it's a combination of things. Don't just think, hey, one day this person had a bad day,
I think I was thinking that, like, do we want to, sometimes I think we're hesitant to get involved or
for sure.
ask the question. Well, you had, I got to hand it to Dave. I walked in the studio today, and Maria, you've been in the news business and radio for a long, long time. Things can get hectic just before show, right? And I ran in here, and I definitely looked like things had gotten a little bit crazy for me out in the newsroom. I'm sure my hair was wild, my eyes were massive, and I'm trying to get on the computer and all those things. And Dave said to me, "Are you doing okay?" And I was like,
he's listened to the podcast.
That's phenomenal. That's all he said was, "Are you doing okay?" And I really appreciated that. It's like we're looking out for each other,
right? Yeah. We're uncomfortable, but really, what she talks about. So after you've noticed, is just asking just a question. Are you okay? Is something going on? And then, even more importantly, listening.
Yes.
To what they have to say, because just listening can make just a huge difference. Sometimes people just need to let whatever that is, kind of off their shoulders, off their chest.
Yeah. And once you get it off your chest, it's like, I feel so much better. Thank you so much for this quick therapy session at work.
Right.
But I think just asking that question, and it can be as simple as, "Are you okay?" It made a world of difference to me this morning. Right when you said that, I was like, "Oh, everything's fine." And just
I want to melt your face off.
No, not at all. But that is such a simple way of making a difference in somebody else's life.
Yeah, and it's really creating a culture of well-being in the workplace. Noticing how each of us are doing, and really the acting part is just, asking and listening. And then if there is a bigger problem, maybe an employer needs to get involved. There are a lot of resources. We have resources here at KSL if, we want to speak to a counselor or such. And many workplaces now are doing that. Fortune 500 companies are getting the message and putting those things in place. And if you want some resources, again, you can go to the American Psychiatric Association's website, and this program's called Notice, Talk, Act at Work.
One of the things that I really appreciated about this, and I don't know if people have actually gone to their bosses and said, "Hey, what do we have a policy on mental health days? Can I take it off? Can I just call you up one morning? What do you look like?" That's a conversation I have never had with my boss. I've never once gone in and say, "Hey, what's our policy on on mental health days or taking time off or caring for ourselves. Even though I think there's probably some real understanding here, I've never actually had the conversation with my boss.
Yeah, there's that comfort level. We don't want that stigma, right?
Yeah.
But there is a recognition that sometimes people just need a day off because they are feeling some overwhelming emotion. And we should be able to take those days.
And I may not want to go into
you
the
can do
entire
that here. You can take a sick day, right?
You can take a sick day,
Right.
a sick work day. But I think that's part of it. I think we have a little bit of a fear that if I acknowledge that I may need a mental health day, it's like, oh, do you have, something bigger going on? And you're like, well, I don't necessarily want to divulge my entire life. And I think most of us don't. And I think a lot of bosses that's not the expectation. You don't have to bring your psychiatrist note and say, yeah, Dave needs a day off.
Maria, your podcast is awesome. It's Maria Shilaos and the Let's Get Moving podcast. And speaking of Let's Get Moving, Maria is now moving out of the studio and into the Bay, where she will be broadcasting live for the next hour, of course. Utah's New News with Maria Shilaos. And also, I just want to make a programming note. You got to listen to her podcast, right? It's free to listen to. She has amazing information, lots of expert guests on. Another one of her latest episodes is Get Your Vitamin D from Food This Winter. And look, I've disclosed a lot on this show. What you don't know about me is I was severely vitamin D deficient about 12 years ago. And there are certain foods that you can get vitamin D from, but not all foods. So I'm looking forward to listening to that podcast as well. So.
I couldn't tell you one food that has vitamin D
Mushrooms.
in it.
Am I right?
Mushrooms?
Mushrooms. Maria gives me a thumbs up. Yeah. When you
can either go outside for a walk in the sun or eat a mushroom burger.
But look at it outside right now. It's a little cloudy out here, and
There's
we
no
can get
sunshine.
socked in from inversion. So Maria's up next, of course, continuing our team coverage, our live coverage of former Congressman Matt Gaetz withdrawing his nomination and consideration to be the next U.S. Attorney General.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL